All the way from Italy, our first semi-finalist featuring Luco and Danny Hulk. We have Napoli Esports. Next up, we have the English duo Ethan and Nick Sneb. They will be representing the green and black of Team Footwears. And then this formidable pair, Dutchman and a Swede. We've got Levi and Olalito representing Team Hullet, Ninjas in Pyjamas. And our final semi-pairing of these two, who had the crown on their feet yesterday, world champion Umir and Anders of the German outfit, RB Leipzig. Well, 4 teams still fighting for glory here, a chance to write their names into the history books and lift this, the FIFAe World Cup trophy. No defending champions, we're going to have a new name on that trophy come the end of the day. Well, welcome then to, I'm allowed to say it this time, Championship Sunday. I'm so excited to be here. We have had 3 incredible days of action so far. We have had it all. We've had defending champions being knocked out. We've had some massive upsets so far, but we are down to our final 4 club teams. Our duos are ready to go into battle. Well, let's welcome then everybody who's joining me today. Of course, we have Lee Demon Smith, we've got Mike Lavelle and Richard Buckley on the couch. Guys, we've got 3 of these World Cups to come. We're nearly at the end of the first one, and I'm exhausted already. I'm not sure about you 3 on the couch here. Lee, it's been a wonderful 3 days already, and we're only on day 4, Championship Sunday.
Yeah, and honestly, yesterday we had everything. We really did. We had insane penalty shootouts, last-minute goals, late drama. It had the lot. It was an absolutely magnificent day. It's going to have to be a big one to top what we had yesterday in terms of drama, but honestly, we've got 4 teams. I think anyone could take it today.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Napoli, guys, has still been undefeated in terms of conceding goals. That was yesterday, the knockouts. As of Team Hullet, Ninjas in Pyjamas. Napoli, the young outfit. Rich, I'm going to come to you about those guys. The young team, 17 and 19-year-olds, have they got what it takes? Have they got the experience?
Absolutely. I think experience plays a factor so much, and then the teamwork, the dedication, the motivation that they've put in this year. When we've spoken to the guys, the 1v1 season went out the window probably turn of the year. It's all been 2v2, it's all been Club World Cup.
Well, let's quickly go on then to Footwears, because there's been some big stories actually, haven't there, as well coming out of the Footwears camp today. They had 30 goals they had to try and get in terms of penalty shootouts, the most we've ever seen, Mike. They had a pretty tough task yesterday, 2 extra times, 1 penalty shootout. Tell me about them. Are they ready for today? Have they regrouped after yesterday?
If you're a fan of drama, then this is the game that you want to highlight. Anything that Footwears has been a part of this far in the last few days, they don't win easily, do they? We've seen extra time, we've seen penalty kicks. That might have been the most stressful. It's the longest penalty kick dispute that we've ever seen. They had 4 opportunities to win it. They took them 5. They didn't convert any of the previous ones. So expect drama, expect sweat, expect reactions. I hope Denman has on the glasses, their coach. I don't think he wanted to be on camera in case they went down early, but they made it happen.
I told him to watch his elbows today. It's
exactly.
all good.
Yeah, Ethan had a little bit of a nose problem there. Quick word as well on Footwears Marco. He said he's retiring after this. So there's a massive news from that camp. It would be, wouldn't it, all of you, a fairy tale ending for Footwears, for him, if they could lift the trophy today. I'll quickly read this, Rich, so you can give me a thought. So Marco, they're announcing my retirement after an incredible journey over the last 7 years. It's finally time for me to move on and officially announce my retirement from professional FIFA. Thank you all for the support throughout these past years. I mean, I can remember him from my first tournament in Bucharest. He was so friendly, he always was welcoming, and he's been an absolute superstar in the world of professional esports, Rich.
Great player. I would probably even say better man. Like, just the person that Marco is. You still owe me a drink, by the way, Marco. I'm not forgetting about this. Just because you're not playing anymore, don't forget about that.
He's got to fly out to get you a drink somewhere.
But just a great guy, and I would say a friend of mine as well. Just such a nice, warm person to be around. Always made people smile. Great teammate in the 2v2s when we've seen him. Made a round of 16 with Footwears a few years ago, and one of the best players from that Oceania region we're ever going to see.
I think we all have some lovely stories about Footwears, Marco, and maybe our three casters do as well. We've got Brandon Smith over there, Alex B and August Rosemeyer. Guys, stories about Marco. I'm sure the three of you have a couple up your sleeve.
Absolutely. I mean, look, he's a player that was picked up by Footwears, and Footwears have been so involved, invested into the Oceania scene. Myself, Brandon, Aggie and Alex B will be guiding you through this first semi-final today. But just a quick word on Marco. He was in your era when you were making the E-World Cup as well, maybe one of your last E-World Cups, Aga. What a player, and unfortunately he'll be quite missed.
Yeah, definitely. I remember meeting him from the first time in Bucharest as well, where he came over to me and we chatted a bit about FIFA and we practiced together, and he ended up later in that season going to the World Cup. So, I mean, a great guy, and I wish him all the best with his retirement, and yeah, welcome to the club.
And what an opportunity this is as well for Footwears to go and lift some silverware, especially when there's a few storylines there. Ethan lost in the grand final of the FIFAe Club World Cup back in FIFA 20. There's a chance to right a wrong there as well.
Yeah, there definitely is. And for this duo of Nixneb and Ethan, we've all been saying that they've got close to this stage multiple times, but they just fall short at that final hurdle. It seems a little bit different this time around, though. They found themselves in the last 4 games 2-0 down. What have they done? They've come back every single time. Are they going to have to see that again at Napoli? Hopefully not. But you just get that little different vibe from Footwears this tournament.
And just a quick word on the other side of Napoli, a team that have no history in the Club World Cup. They were created, I'm pretty sure, this year. It's the first time they've entered this tournament. Aggie, what a surprise package they've been, and what an example this is to the FIFAe Club World Cup. Go and create a team, get some decent players behind you, and anything can happen.
I think we got the best of the both worlds at this competition. Young and not experienced guys coming into this competition, just playing and without no fear, and yeah, really impressive. And I'm looking forward to see them today, because obviously we've seen them perform over the last 3 days, but now you're here, now it's getting closer to you, so I'm really curious to see how they will respond to Championship Sunday.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to be taking you through that first semi-final. Not quite just yet, though. So for now, it's back over to Rachel and the guys to build up this first matchup.
Yeah, thanks so much. Obviously, we've spoken quite a lot, haven't we, about this first one. Napoli taking on Team Footwears. We do have another one, though, coming a little bit later on as well. Team Hullet Ninjas in Pyjamas taking on RB Leipzig. Anders said they are the favourites. Boys, do you still think they are? And I was going to say, do you think, Mike, Anders' FIFA 21 win streak of 5-3-5, do you think he's much more than that now that he's a semi-finalist?
He's definitely confirmed, just qualifying for all these events, that he's the real deal. Because that was the question coming to the LAN environment. Could he do it on LAN versus just being online? He's answered that question. I don't think anybody has any doubt there. And anytime I hear him talk, he's the favorite. So I don't know. I think they're always the favorites. Is there anyone that they can go up against where he's not the favorite?
Maybe not the favourite, but a team that can certainly beat them. It's Team Hullet Ninjas in Pyjamas. They've already lifted a trophy this year, something that Anders, even though how good he is, he's not been able to do in this global scene so far. He's got to get a chip under his belt, whether that's here, whether that's next week, whether that's the week after the E-World Cup. One of these 3 events, I would imagine Anders will be victorious on. Which one will?
Big statement there, Lee. Yeah. Anders victorious in one of the 3 events. Wow.
I would say, obviously we've heard it yesterday, and he talked about it, like how they came back. They were 3-1 down, they came back 3-3, and he knew in that moment, like, these guys are not experienced enough. I have this in the bag now. He's up against a very different team. You know, you can't rattle these guys. You know, Levy has been around for forever and a day. Obviously, Olilito, we know what he's all about. Absolutely magnificent players. So it's going to be a much different game. You're not going to be able to give it the loads to the crowd. They're not going to get flustered by that. So it's going to be a very different game. Also, they're probably one of the most defensive teams here, I would say, Team Hullet.
Yeah, exactly. Right, well, we've mentioned it, haven't we? We started yesterday. 3 days ago with 24 teams. Now we're down to our final 4. Well, let's meet them all now. Napoli Esports, well, they finished top of their Group B before facing DC United in the round of 16. They beat the American side 2-0 on aggregate, setting up a quarter-final with Goliath Gaming. The Italians are still yet to concede in the knockouts. Footwears came 3rd in Group A before winning a tense penalty shootout against Ajax Esports. 30 shots, the final number. They then overturned a first leg deficit against Atlanta Wave to reach those all-important semis. A Swede and a Dane, Team Hullet Ninjas in Pyjamas, finished runners-up in Group B. And followed up that with a knockout against Apogee, the Polish outfit, and the Dux America team, who were oh so close to a comeback. Well then, the fans' favourite RB Leipzig were dominant in the groups, being table toppers. They then went on to beat the boys who brought the drama, Hollywood, 1-0 in the round of 16, before a dramatic comeback against Bromby, which secured the last semi-final place. Yes, well, we just spoke about their route to get here to the semi-finals. Napoli Esports take on Team Footwears, and Team Hullet, Ninjas in Pyjamas, take on everybody's favourite here in Saudi, RB Leipzig Gaming. I say that because the fans were going wild at Anders. That was a chow here in the arena. We love to see it. These two got in there as well. They were cheering, shouting. It was wild in this arena. Expect the same today. Well, let's go and meet our semi-finalists right now then. Spencer is with them.
Yes, we're going to be meeting, thank you Rachel, we're going to be meeting our first semi-finalists very quickly. We've got the trophy here, look at it, it's an absolute piece of art. It is the FIFAe Club World Cup, and someone is going to be lifting that in a few hours' time. Could it be the team we're about to meet now? Please join me in welcoming to the stage Napoli Esports. The two players and their coach, of course, from Napoli, Luco and Danny Holt, have done so well to get here. No goals conceded in the knockout round. And the lowest ranked team left in the competition, ranked 73rd in the world. Welcome, gentlemen. Of course, for them to progress, they're going to have to win this semi-final. They need an opposition. So please join me in welcoming the team that they're going to be taking on in this epic semi-final. It is Team Footwears Europe. Here they come then, Ethan and Nixnev together represent the highest ranked team left in the tournament, ranked 11th in the world, and they're the top goal scorers in the knockout rounds with 7 goals across 2 games, both games going to either extra time or penalties. Welcome, gentlemen. We're going to do the coin toss shortly, but first I'd like to ask you a few questions. Luco, Napoli, you guys are ranked 73rd in the world going into this. That means you're the lowest ranked team left in it. Does that make you the underdogs going into this game?
Yeah, we were the underdogs from the first moment, but now all the people know our potential, so we want to continue what we started.
Are you changing anything in terms of your approach to take on Footwears Europe? Have you done any homework on their play style?
We watched their games, but we will play like yesterday because we played really well, so we want to continue like this.
Okay, that's Napoli, of course. Let's cross over the stage here and talk to the guys from Footwears. Now, I just said that Napoli are the lowest ranked team left in the tournament. You guys, as a two, are the highest ranked, sitting 11th in the world going into this tournament. You also are the highest top goal scorers in knockout football. But some crazy games you had to go through.
Some crazy games, but the world rankings don't really mean much here because based on the groups from knockouts gone, they're actually a better team than us. So it's all about playing our game now and how we know we can play and get the job done now.
So you don't necessarily see yourselves as the favourites going into this one?
I mean, on paper, people might class us as the favourites, but based on how this tournament's gone so far, I'd say they aren't. Hopefully, as long as we play our game, we'll be fine.
Can you handle another extra time penalty? You've got the emotional power to go through it again.
If it means we win, I don't care. Just get us through to the final.
Can't take your eyes off the Footwears games, guys. They've been epic. Of course, I'm joined by head referee James as well, who's going to do a coin toss for us to decide who kicks off in the second leg. James, if you just let us know, you've got a blue and a green-sided coin. Who's what side?
Blue is Napoli, green is Footwears.
Okay, take it away, James. So blue is Napoli, green is Footwears. It is green, which means Footwears will kick off the second leg. There you go. There's proof of the coin toss. Thank you very much, James. Guys, you can make your way to your booths. Best of luck to both of you. Please go and get comfortable and get ready to play. So, Napoli versus Footwears. It's a great game. I can't wait for it. Over to our casters to talk us through the action.
Thank you very much, Spencer. And it's one of them, isn't it? How much do you look into those interviews there? I mean, Footwears haven't had a perfect run in this tournament, Alex, have they? They've gone, look, we'll take penalties, we'll take extra time, we'll be 2 goals down with 20 minutes left to play and still come out on top. They have played proper tournament football throughout, haven't they?
They have indeed, and I actually quite like that from Ethan there, because yes, you know, most people would say Footwears are probably the favourites for this game, but Luca and Danny, we know that they're young. They've not been to this sort of position before in this tournament in the past for them. So just to say, you know what, based off how they've played in the group stage and the knockouts, maybe they're the favourites, just to try and make them uneasy a little bit.
And on the other side, Aga, this Napoli team that's just got this togetherness. Underdogs, they called themselves. They have been the underdogs because no one expected this performance. They came out of a very difficult regional qualifier in the European south-east side of things. They stopped the likes of Reply Tottenham from getting it, AZ Monza, but they've never looked back since they qualified.
No, it's been really remarkable how they've been progressing throughout this competition, and now they're here. It's about 2 best of 2s, and they could end up with the trophy. So obviously it's not going to be easy against Footwears, but I'm very excited to see them play here.
And what changes on a championship Sunday, Aga? You've been there times before. How does it feel? How does it feel mentally going into it? Do you treat it like any other day, or is it just hard not to?
To be honest, I always felt more confident going into the championship Sunday because you knew that you worked your way to actually get there, while the nerves were more sitting on your clothes when you were playing the group stage, but also the knockout stage to actually get here. So they know they're capable of getting far in the competition, and they know they have the skills now to win it. So I would say obviously you still have the positive nerves, but you have a lot of confidence because, yeah, you're here.
Yeah, and also with Footwears, we have mentioned it multiple times, they've just had that element where they've gone down and behind. I think it's different against Napoli, though. The way that Napoli have been playing throughout this tournament, if they give them a 2-goal lead like Footwears have been doing time and time again, I think it's going to be a different story. So for Footwears, they have to make sure they start strong and start on that front foot.
One word that comes into mind when we speak about Napoli, it's an Italian side. They're organised, aren't they? Organised all over the park, so in sync. They're happy to go into a 5-back. They're happy to make it difficult for you. And that's why it's going to be so key in this game that Footwears start well. As cliche as that is, Footwears need to score first in this game.
Yeah, I would argue they definitely do need to start first and get that goal, nice early start. However, for Napoli, though, if Footwears can maybe take the game to them and make it 2-1, 3-1 at any point, we haven't seen Napoli have that kind of position where they've got to come out and say, okay, we're going to try and do that comeback. Have they got the ability to do it? If we get to that point, it's going to show that mental strength of both of these players if they can do so. One
thing that we can tease people at home with, that there should be goals in this game from both teams. Although Napoli have had 2 clean sheets in their round of 16 and quarter-final ties, neither were that great in the group stage in terms of conceding goals. 23 goals conceded to only 24 that have been scored from Footwears. They've never really outscored their opponents through group stages and knockouts, as you saw with extra time and penalties needed yesterday. And for Napoli as well, defensively, yes, they've looked organised in knockout play, but they can leak a goal or 2 as well. So we hope there's going to be plenty of goals in it.
Yeah, and as we can also see here on the screen, we have the heart rate relatively calm for now, but it's definitely going to be up and downs. And I would like to see the heart rate if the games goes the same way as their games yesterday. But one thing I also noticed yesterday with Napoli was the way they managed their leads. Like they kept so well with the possession and just waited for the right opportunity to go forward when they were in the lead. So even though they're very unexperienced on this stage, they definitely didn't play like that yesterday.
They definitely didn't, and it's just showing that, yeah, they might be young and they might not have been here in this position before, but they just play with that freedom. The one thing that, for me, that I've noticed so much about this Napoli team, they just have no fear. They do just constantly keep going forward. They want to score those goals, and yesterday, like you said, Aggie, they had that defensive display in both of their knockout games to keep those clean sheets and put them through into the semi-finals. However, we could argue Napoli maybe, just maybe, have had an easier running than some of these teams throughout this knockout stage, obviously up against DC United and Goliath as well. 100 heart right there. That's pretty low,
He's chill, isn't he? Luco is chill. I think, as we said, the crazy storyline here, Luco, 209th in Europe he sits right now. Danny Hulk, 190th in Europe. It feels like 1v1 FIFA hasn't been on their mind this year, Aga. It's all been about 2v2. Look, let's give this a real good crack, which has a risk as well if you put all your eggs in one basket in one tournament. They've done that, and it's worked out well for them.
Yeah, and I mean, if you put your focus on a certain thing and you have some sort of advantage, because most of these guys here are qualified for more events, and maybe some of them were at the playoffs. At least I knew Ethan was there as well. So they have many focuses, while Napoli has been focusing perhaps on 2 versus 2 for a longer period, which give them some sort of advantage, you could say, in terms of preparation. So I definitely think it's an interesting fact, and I'm looking forward to see how this pan out.
Just to get your thoughts on this Footwears team one more time, Alex. Ethan, we know what a season he's had. 14th in Europe he sits. He won a European qualifier on this year. But credit to Footwears, Nick Snebb, a player that came for their academy roster back in 2020, then got his call up in 2021. He is still so young, but he's such a special player on the sticks, isn't he? And we see those moments of flariness that he brings in the final third.
Yeah, and I got to experience that firsthand when Nick Snebb joined my pro clubs team many, many years ago. And you could just see the talent that he had on the ball. He wanted to get that ball, he wanted to drive, get into the box, show the skill moves that he's capable of delivering. And obviously, with Ethan alongside him, it is just a perfect duo.
Well done. Semi-final time here in the FIFAe Club World Cup. Winner of this game will double the cash they've already earned, $150,000, and an outing in this year's grand final in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. 24 teams qualified through many months of online qualification, and only 4 remain. Is it going to be a first start? I'll say early start. First shot from Napoli, 4 minutes in. Is that a warning shot of what we're going to expect from this team?
That was a bigger chance than they might thought. I think he was clear there with R9. Maybe perhaps a missed timing there. Could have been green. What do you think about that one, Alex? For me, it looked like maybe actually should have been a goal.
I mean, it should have the step overs from R9 to drive into the box and just have that confidence to take it on that right foot. Yeah, we always look at it and we say in those sort of areas, have you got the ability to look for the green time finish just to ensure that you're getting the right amount of power, accuracy on that shot as well. There's only one thing I would say, maybe just a little bit too much power, which also, it's your first chance of the game. I don't think Napoli were expecting to have such a good chance like that so early.
Yeah, it looks like there's a technical pause in our semi-final here, 4 minutes in. We'll try and give you the lowdown of what is happening on the stage as soon as we can.
We will say as well though, Brandon, it shows Napoli, I mentioned how they're fearless. Just come straight out and say, yeah, we're just going to work that chance. We're not going to try and ease into the game too much, pass it around, have a bit of time on the ball and grow with confidence. They're just straight out.
It's an absolute dream story, isn't it, for these two, regardless of what happens in this game, as we keep on saying again and again and again, for Luco and Danny Holt. Their biggest prize pot before this tournament, Aga, was online cups. $100 here, €200 there. They've already bagged $75,000 in their first offline LAN event. Like, you just don't see that these days, do you?
It's very, very significant, and I mean, it just goes to show again that if you have the talent, if you put in the work, you can end up being here, you can end up being rewarded in that way. And I'm sure that they're also here to try to grab something more, but regardless of what happens for them, I'm pretty sure they'll say this tournament has been a huge success for them, and it's kind of a breakthrough as well globally for them. Next year they will be known as a superior team.
Yourself, obviously, you've been in FIFA esports so long, former world champion as well. As FIFA esports has been growing and the prize pool has been going up and up and up, we're here in Saudi Arabia with the biggest prize pool that we've had so far. Does that play an impact for the players where, you know, maybe a few years ago they were used to, okay, this game might be worth $40,000, now $75,000. Does that play on your mind as a player, knowing, you know what, this is a lot more prize pool?
Yeah, I think definitely for them. It's obviously hard to say because back then when I was at the competitions, it was a lot of money as well for us, but now we've seen the rise of it, and maybe the players are more used to it now because the scene has grown, obviously. So it's definitely plays a part, I'll say. But at the end of the day, what they're really looking for is the trophy, even though I wouldn't mind getting the 300K as well.
Yeah, for sure. And also, we talk about it, this is their jobs. They're here practicing day in and day out to make it to these events for that. It is also life-changing sort of money, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And you can also see, like, one of the things that I really like about Napoli and what I've noticed about some of the teams, the way they're just gathering together before a match, just making a team shout and just looking each other in the eyes and prepare and making sure everyone is ready. That's one of the most beautiful things about playing 2 versus 2, that it's more than just the 2 players, it's also the coach, it's also the analyst. Like, there's so many positive and nice aspects to this.
Just wanted to add on to that as well. That coach in the middle, what a man he's been in this tournament. He has been in between the seats. He's been living every moment with these 2 players throughout this journey. There's a couple of highlights that we have just been talking about with this Napoli esports team. This was the start we saw before we had the small technical pause here. Game kicks off. There's a pause already cued by Footwears where we can clearly see there's been sort of technical issue. But to go at your opponent this early onto the game, have no care about it, to go and score straight away. We said how important it would be for Footwears to start early. It was nearly Napoli esports did. Couple of step overs, exited well. R9 just over that right top corner.
Yeah, huge chance, as we said. And from that as well, Aggie, the players have been coming out knowing that this is a semi-final. They've had all that time to prepare for it. What sort of advice would you be giving right now? What would be going through your mind when you know you've got this little bit of time to have a bit more of a think about the game up ahead?
I think it's all about staying in your own bubble and being in your zone. Obviously, when it's 2 versus 2, you got to be aligned together with your teammate. But you need to remind yourself that you need to tell yourself, I am the best. We are the best. We're here. We're gonna win it now. And I think that's it's a feeling that's hard to describe, but it's a feeling you get when you're coming into a championship Sunday or championship Saturday. It's just something you feel in your body where you feel like you can overcome everything, right? And if you have that feeling, things are looking bright for you.
Well, it sounds as if there's a console issue at the moment, is what we're hearing from down on the ground. While we're waiting for that to be sorted, we're going to pass it back over to Rachel and the guys in the studio for a bit more pre-match talk.
We'll just give you a bit of a breather, boys, because yes, we are hearing there's a bit of a console issue there. So, we didn't have that much time, did we, to discuss our thoughts ahead of this first semi-final. So, we're lucky, actually, there is an issue because we get time to discuss it with you three right now. Okay, so we don't know how long we've got, so I'll come back down, Rich. Let's just start again. Obviously, we're talking a bit about Napoli and their youth there. And I actually said, obviously, we're talking about age here, 17 and a 19-year-old. We always talk about Anders as this young wonder kid. 17, I think that's younger than Anders, right?
Both very young. Age is important up to a point where skill overlaps. Like Emre Yilmaz is arguably the best player in the world, and he's young.
This is simple though. The reason that we talk about Anders and this wonder kid is because he was amazing at 13 years old.
Yeah, he's winning
at 14 years old,
12,
he just wasn't able to go to some of these big events. So it's not as if because he's a teenager. No, it's because we saw him early on, and a lot of people didn't even start playing FIFA yet at that point, yet alone being ready to win a championship. I think you could ask any competitor, if you date back a few years, you would have said that he was the best player in the world then. He just couldn't compete. He was dominating everyone online.
Yeah, I think for Napoli, for both sides actually, a week ago, say you're in a semi-final, you got to play Footwears or you've got to play Napoli to get to a final. Both teams shake the hand. I think both sides see this as a very winnable game, and you'd be very disappointed not to make a final, given who you're playing. You're not playing a Hullet, you're not playing a Fnatic, you're not playing an RB Leipzig. It's a very winnable game on the surface.
We never want to say easier side of the draw, but it looks that way, doesn't it, Lee?
Yeah, for me, I just worry that maybe Footwears used all their luck yesterday. They had obviously the luck of the penalty draw. I mean, as Ethan said in the interview, it's like we had 5 times we could have won that. We thought absolutely certain we'd give it away. Wasn't the case. Got away with it. Then the next game, last minute goal. Ball given away, last minute goal straight up the other end, 119th minute. And I talked to them this morning, they were like, yeah, maybe we did, but now we're coming into this one. Yes, we're in the semi-final, but we've kind of got nothing else to lose now. It's like they feel it's there to be won.
I was going to say, they definitely want to be winners. They're not looking at just settling for a semi-final spot, Mike, are they?
Absolutely not, and often when you have those margins of winning the penalty kicks, getting a bounce back, getting something that's favorable, you're winning in extra time, you start saying to yourself, I think this is our tournament. I've been in those positions where if things are going my way, I start having a little bit of an added belief.
But this is much more important for Footwears to win this game than it is Napoli, because they've already been there this season. EA Sports Cup, semi-final, losing on penalties.
You say that, but what if Napoli never gets a chance to come back into this position?
They're still so young.
No. That's not how FIFA works. That's not how it works.
But, Mike, we were saying yesterday, this is Footwears' time. They are playing the best FIFA they have done. And if they don't now...
There's an English bias coming in over here. I'm surrounded on the couch. There's an English bias.
I'm going to take over this. Footwears...
Rachel, take a back seat.
Throughout the last 3 days, Footwears haven't played at their peak yet.
No.
In this tournament. when's it going to happen? Is it going to happen? If it's
Well,
going to
that's
happen
what Lee
right
was
now,
saying.
Meanwhile-
Has luck been on their side more than actually their skill? Well, it's getting... Go
Meanwhile,
on.
sorry, Napoli topped their group, obviously. They came through. I think Aggie actually was going to be commentating this game. He's the only one that had Napoli down to win the group. And obviously, he tipped them. He's obviously seen something throughout that he feels they come from the Italian region. It's a very hard region to qualify from. So they're definitely coming to this one as, I would say, favourites, I think.
Napoli favourites. Oh, we've gone the other way over here now, guys.
I think it's Footwears' game to lose. I think just off the experience that they've had before, Ethan's made it to a final before, they've lost in a semi-final this year. I think they've lost, I might be incorrect, they've lost either one or two-legged matches the entire year. Like, they're in regular time, outside of penalties, they are so good. But, I mean, Napoli's not conceded in the knockouts. Like, I want to see what happens.
Neither is Team Ninjas next one as well.
Yeah.
On paper, Footwears, especially from an individual standpoint, Nick Sneb, Ethan have had both individual success. They've had 2v2 success. Coming into this with the experience, you're on the biggest of stages. It's Championship Sunday. You say clearly this is their game. I'll build off you. Their game to lose. But sometimes that can work against you because you have expectation.
Rich,
expectation is dangerous.
I also, Rich, read into Nick Sneb's face when Sven was speaking to him a little bit about the penalties. I genuinely think he enjoyed that yesterday. I know it's obviously nerve-wracking at the time, but he looked like he would relish that opportunity again. Well, he may get a shot, mightn't he? Because this is going to be a close affair. Napoli taking on Team Footwears in our first semi-final. I believe we are underway. Back then to our casters, Brandon, Alex, and Aggie.
Thank you very much, Rachel. Thank you very much, Rachel. And yes, we are back for this semi-final finally now. There was a little bit of a delay. However, we are ready to get going now. Just a quick one from what the counter is saying. Is this Footwears' game to lose? You know, is it? They're on a bit of a peak form at the moment. Will they get back to a top four again anytime soon?
I think it's Footwears' game to lose, 100%. We know how good this Napoli side have been, and I know Mike may disagree in certain areas there, but I do think experience plays a massive part. When you've been here and done this over many, many years, you can claw back on those experiences. Right now, for Napoli, they don't have that. They've never been in this position together. It obviously gives them so much credit, though, to how well they've performed so far in this tournament. Napoli, we'll just feel confident regardless of whether we think it's Footwears' to lose or not.
Yeah, regardless of how you perform throughout the competition, you always tend to look at earlier achievements and performances. Footwears is.
Oh my, what is going on? What a start for the Italian duo. They had a chance 4 minutes in the first game. Then we had a small technical difficulty. We came back underway. And it's not taken long for the Napoli duo to get underway here. What do we say? The worst thing that could happen here, Alex, Footwears go down a goal early.
Footwears carrying on with that same record they've had in those previous games, taking themselves behind. It was a ball that was just whipped in, and you think, oh, it's going to be dealt with. Defenders get caught, fall over. Pogba, he's ready, he's there to pounce. Footwears, not a great start.
No, and just throwing the ball away there as well. Seems very, very nervy to start. Has been some questionable decisions, and I mean, we did speak about it. It's their game, arguably, to lose. Like, if you're looking forehand on the paper, Footwears is a more well-known team. It's two players who achieved a lot, who every player rates, while Napoli is more like everyone rates them and think highly of them, but they're relatively new, so you don't have the same info on them, and that's why this is their game to lose. But right now, I mean, Napoli is all over them.
So aggressive in the final third, are Napoli? Just on that point as well, there's already been heartbreakers, Richie was saying. EA Sports Cup, they made a semi-final in Team Footwears, losing to the hands of the champions that went on to win that tournament, TGNIP. That one was basically their ticket to this tournament. They had to go the long way, the hard way, battling through the European Northwest region where they came through with Manchester City. You have to remember some of the teams that didn't make it through that region. FC Twente, Team Hullet, that's Emre Yilmaz and Manu Bashir. They've had to fight their way through this tournament to get to this stage. Hence why it means that extra 10% to them also.
Yeah, and also the way they performed throughout those many, many weeks of competition. That is one of the reasons why they are ranked the highest that's remaining left in this tournament, up against Napoli, who, yes, Ethan said rankings doesn't mean all too much, really. In the grand scheme of things, it's about how you perform at that tournament. But it does give credit to Footwears of Nick Sneb and Ethan about how consistent they've been when they've been playing in the E Club World Cup championships where you have to have those playoffs, you have to play well week in, week out. They've done an excellent job of it.
Well, building nicely in Napoli now. Doesn't come to anything on that occasion. Just some intel for those that are watching home, working out who is who. For Team Footwears from right to left, the captain in the team is Ethan with that blue cursor above his head in possession now, just passed it across to his teammate of Nixneb, who's got that sort of turquoise green above his head. On the other side, it's Luco, but he's the captain with that red cursor, and sort of that orange circle will be Danny Holt, the teammate of Napoli. And that shot doesn't really have any power behind it. It's the first shot registered from Footwears. I don't think that'll be getting them excited at all.
Not excited at all. Aggie, you've played 2v2 FIFA. You've been there, and you know exactly when you're having that discussion with your teammate about who is captain, because it's the decisions like the offside trap, the goalkeeper movement, when you want to go and change tactics and whatnot. How do you decide your captain? Who takes that decision to say, this is going to be on me, I'm going to be in control of this?
I think at my last period in my career at Astralis, we had some discussion, but it all comes down to who are simply the best at it.
Pele! With the first real chance they've had, that shapeshifter Pele just getting the ball on the edge of the box. A little skill move, to escape the on-tracking defender's foot. We're straight back in the tie. As you were saying, Aga, please carry on.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly what we want to see from Footwears. This is what they want to do. That's their game plan. That's where they're strongest, when they come into the box and they can start play with that fluidity, with the step overs, the skill moves, the reverse elastico as we saw there. That is where Ethan and Nixneb are almost out of this world.
Just to get your thoughts on this, Alex, there's a draft process in play here at the Club World Cup. For those that haven't been following this tournament, maybe just tuning in for Championship Sunday, in each of the groups, Group A, B and C, remember there were 6 teams in each group, there was a drafting process that went on. You are allowed to choose any 3 players in the game. Expect that to be the likes of Gullit, R9, Mbappe, or maybe Pele over R9. And then there was 8 players that you were allowed to draft in your group that only you could use in the group. Hence why you are seeing such an array in these Ultimate teams.
Yeah, it all comes down to personal preference for those 3 players. As you mentioned, so many teams have gone for the similar sort of players. I think every team has picked Mbappe, of course. Footwears, though, they went with the more defensive side and went with Virgil van Dijk, while we saw Napoli pick up Gullit, Mbappe and R9. And I think that kind of speaks volumes to Napoli at what their game plan is throughout this tournament of scoring goals. We want the best players on the pitch to do so.
Yeah, and there are 2 approaches, and I think either you're going with a more controlled and balanced approach where you don't take as many risks. But as we also been seeing, we saw the defending champion Riders go out in the group, and the main theme there was that they didn't take risks enough, and that's also a risk by playing too conservative. So I really like the way Napoli has approached this competition, and that's why they're here, because they weren't afraid to take these chances, to go offensive, to try to go for those extra goals. Sometimes that's what you need, no fear.
One thing that you can see on the play style there is possession does change hands. We'll speak more about it after this attack comes in from Footwears now. Usman Dembele up against Wilfried Zaha, takes into half-time. One thing that's really impressive about this Napoli side is the maturity on the pitch at times. They're happy to go frantic going forward. And you just saw about 10 in-game minutes there, Alex. Just happy to keep the ball, get back on the ball, move it from side to side along the back.
Yeah, and actually, it shows their game management. They knew they were coming up to the end of that half-time. Napoli are playing that 5 at the back system, where the left wing-back and right wing-back push so high up the pitch. While as Footwears, they're playing that 4-4-2. Napoli made the change there. They're using the attacking fullbacks as the option on the D-pad. They just turned that off and said, let's get our fullbacks back into our own half and basically play that back 5 so we can just essentially see it out to half-time. They didn't take any risk. If they could have got an attack in there, brilliant. They obviously would have been very grateful for that. But I think we spoke about the age and the first time being here. That shows their maturity to say, let's get these wing-backs back and let's make sure we don't concede on the stroke of half-time.
Definitely, and it showed that you aren't afraid, you aren't too nervous, you aren't star-struck about being here. You know that you have something to say, you know you have a part to play in this competition. And I really like that, because it's like being super aware of all the tools you have and being able to actually perform them during the match can be hard if you're nervous. So in that way, again, very, very impressive from Napoli.
There's one player on the pitch that Footwears somehow got through the drafting process, and that's Ronaldinho Team of the Year. I'm surprised he wasn't picked by any other team in that Group A, but they got him. I'm predicting that was from probably the rankings of the seedings. They got quite an early pick in the draft. He was the first player on their 8 draft sheet that they were allowed to choose in that Group A, and you can see, and you will see, what a big part of their success he's been.
Yeah, and that's Nick doing 100%. It's one of his favourite players to use, as we see him on the ball now, looking to drive in towards the box.
As expected, skill moves coming out from Ronaldinho, not getting them too far. Wins it back nicely. Great press there from Team Footwears. Remember, this is only leg 1 of 2 here. In knockout play, every game decided over 2 legs. Traditional FIFA esports format. Footwears building. Can they find that killer pass in between the 2 lines of the midfield and defence as Pele and Mbappe just move from side to side. Someone who was allowed to be chosen by any player was Klosterman. He was in the open pool of players. And how good has he been throughout those quarterfinals we saw yesterday? Can play as a fullback, can play along the centre line, and he's just been reliable, is the word I'd use.
So versatile. One of the great things about him as well is that, like you saw, Team Footwears use him in that way. You can drive, you can get territory on that pitch by pushing him forward, taking on those opposing fullbacks. A brilliant item which we've seen Footwears use to the full strength. And it's also different in a way. You've got a left back and a right back there that are a little bit taller than maybe your traditional fullbacks that we've seen over many years of FIFA, allowing them to compete in the air, try and avoid those crosses where they can.
Ronaldinho finds Mbappe, looking to build up again at Footwears. Just turned up the pace on the attack, but it's what they've been all about. This Napoli sports team, yes, their clean sheet record in the knockout stages might have run out, but regardless of it, they've only conceded 1 goal across 5 individual legs of FIFA. Chance to break away now. Mbappe has got the legs on 2 or 3 defenders there. He's got a big job though. Bit of goalkeeper move, but just teases Mbappe away from maybe going for the first initial direct cross. Just feel a slight change here, can't you, in the way that this game is going. Footwears have had a lot of possession in the last 20 minutes or so. Klosterman, Bruno Fernandes, who was clutched yesterday in the penalty shot. There's the step overs. It was a Trivella, but it was Frankie de Jong with the finish.
There was a big chance, maybe with a ball roll there, just to get into the right angle, but just go for it, Trivella. But they're knocking on the door now, Footwears, and they definitely seem to have found their shape. While Napoli is a bit on the back foot right now, just defending a lot, which they've been so good at. But over 2 legs, you also gotta ask some more questions. They have to follow up on that wonderful start.
Napoli, R9, it's a lovely touchdown there, but Virgil van Dijk proving his worth as one of those 3 main picks in this team. Right place, right time. That could have been very dangerous, Alex.
Could have indeed, and we're seeing this a lot from a lot of teams in this tournament, where they're going for these crosses to just get them in between the full-back and centre-back. You go for that normal cross, sometimes it just gets over the opposing defender, and you have a little bit of time to bring that down, try and take that man on. Unfortunately there for R9, Van Dijk just recovering in time, and that's one of the reasons why Footwears have him in the team.
And Bello, good feet from Nick Sneb. Nick Sneb with Pele, ball roll, composed as you like. A lovely bit of build-up play, but just to have the wherewithal to take the extra touch, the ball roll, and to slot it into the back of the net. Footwears have turned the game on their heads. They lead 2-1.
Ice in the veins from Nick Sneb there, getting in one-on-one. In that time, you have a second or 2 to think about what you want to do. You're trying to keep an eye on the goalkeeper, that goalkeeper movement coming through as well from Napoli. And you really have to make sure you pick your moment. The defenders are going to end up catching up to you if you dawdle too long. The low-driven, though, just going the opposite way of the goalkeeper. Nick Sneb, calm as he likes.
Yeah, I really like that goal, especially the build-up there. Timing is on point, and that's what you need. You need to be in sync when you're playing 2v2 at the highest level. And these 2 gents here are definitely in sync right now. I really like that goal, and I think for them now, it's an unusual position. So it's got to be interesting to see. Actually, for both teams, it's quite unusual because Napoli's been in the lead for the majority of times in this competition. But Footwears, let's see how they respond.
I'm sure as well when we take a look at that highlight, that was all about Pele, but that hold-up play, drawing in that centre-back and just waiting for that ongoing run. Works. Just like off the training ground.
Yeah, you just saw Nick Sneb's heart rate there. I'm sure my heart rate would have been a little bit higher, scoring that goal in a match-up worth so much. $150,000 on the line with a win here and a grand final spot in this year's E-Club World Cup. Please keep in mind there is still a second leg to be played. This is only the first leg. Aggregate scoreline, of course, coming into play. Footwears looking to build on that lead. Ronaldinho won't want to see that one again.
Footwears have been excellent in not allowing Napoli to use this 5 at the back to its full strength. When you're running that 5 at the back and your wing-backs start to push up the pitch, you want to be able to use them in such that high area. Right now, Footwears are pressing so effectively high, and they're making it very difficult for them to play in between the lines like we see here.
Cheeky chip finds it down. There's no step overs, trademark from R9 again. It's another big tackle at the back from Footwears, an area where they haven't been great in this E-Club World Cup, conceded 23 goals throughout this whole tournament. Don't really keep clean sheets, but there was a big moment in this game, or two you could argue, Alex. One from Virgil van Dijk and another one you just saw there.
Nick Sneb, we spoke about how good he is in the attack. They're showing at the other end he can defend to a great level as well. That switch into the defender, just to be calm in the step and trust that you know where the ball is going to go, be strong in that tackle and look to see this game out.
Taking a leaf out of Napoli's book here, really, isn't it? Just game management coming into play. Virgil van Dijk happy to switch that one over to Ronaldinho. Any time now, 1 minute last attack. They've worked this one well, Footwears. They score one more. They're laughing in the break. Pogba, oh, he turned the wrong way. Great pocket of space, and Ethan knows that you can see on his face. What an opportunity that was, Aga.
There was a great opportunity there. Just, I think, didn't realize he would be alone there with Pogba, but yeah, he knew it. But regardless of that, I think they'll be very satisfied, especially with the second half. Started out a bit slowly, just managed to come back into the match here, and they are dominating right now, been defending superior as well. Everything is going great for Footwears.
And one thing that Napoli haven't been used to, Alex, is the team literally taking the game to them and scoring goals and making them uncomfortable in that back five. It forces a change, doesn't it?
It does, and it's something we spoke about in the pre-match build-up, saying how they've had it relatively comfortable throughout the whole of this tournament, where they've been the team on that front foot. This now is going to show what are Luco and Danny made of. Have they got that ability to dig deep, find something else in their locker, and try and test this Footwears defence? It's a different matchup. It's a 5 at the back versus a 4 at the back, and Footwears right now are just making it look like it's easy.
And is there a word, when we were speaking about this before, Aga, that the different bracket runs they've had? Footwears against Ajax, went to penalties, 3-3. Atlantide Wave came back, won that game. On the other side, don't be wrong, two fantastic teams in their own right, DC9 and Goliath Gaming. Is there a debate there of who maybe had a bit more of a difficult bracket run?
Yeah, I think definitely when you're looking on the paper, the majority would say that Footwears' way to the semi-final has been more stacked in terms of household names, but not to take anything away from Napoli, because at the end of the day, you just got to win your matches and being here, but I think it's also the way that Footwears won, which me and Mr. LeBille is speaking a lot about and very highly about, that if you have these big games where you come out victorious, you start to feel that this is your competition to win. You have the margins to go all the way, and right now, certainly look like they're going to the final.
90 minutes away, Alex, but only one goal, as we've seen, is nothing from a team that doesn't like to make it easy for themselves, do Team Footwears.
No, they definitely don't. Speaking to Denman, their coach, last night, saying, I don't want to go through it again. Can we just have a nice, comfortable win on the way to the final? But like Nick Sneb said, pre-match interview with Spencer, he doesn't mind how they win as long as they win. If they get through to that final, he'll take it all the way to penalties if needs be.
Well, hopefully Denman will keep his elbows intact today. Poor Ethan got one of those in the face after a ridiculous ending to one of their games yesterday. We have got the highlights from that game that you may have just missed if you are joining us now. It's the UK esports organisation, Team Footwears, that are leading 2-1, but they did go 1-0 down early on in this game, Alex.
Yeah, and they showed exactly why they have got that ability to come back time and time again. Zaha whips that one in. Defender Van Dijk just gets caught. Pogba is lurking. A fantastic finish as well. Ethan and Nick Sneb, they did look at each other, and that's something they've done so well. They just laugh it off, they carry on, they come back. Mbappe into Pele. The reverse Elasco, that's Ethan there, showing that even he is more than capable in that 18-yard box to dance and find the way through. And then this here was absolutely brilliant. That hold-up play from Mbappe, waiting for Pele to breach that defensive line, and then Nick Sneb, calm as you like.
That's what 2v2 FIFA is all about, Aga, isn't it? Just being in sync with your teammate. Look no further than what Footwears did in that second goal.
That second goal was brilliant. I mean, the heel-to-heel there, the timing of it was so brilliant from them. And as we've been speaking about, it is two flow-based players who are extremely good at all the advanced things on the stick. So it's a great combo, it's a great duo, and oftenly you see two kind of different play styles trying to find each other in 2v2, but these two are pretty similar and they somehow made it work. So it just goes to show that there isn't a perfect couple in terms of game styles. You can have two very flow-based players, or you can also have just a very balanced player and a flow-based player.
Absolutely. Well, I believe the second leg has kicked off now, so let's get into it as soon as we can. Only one of these teams will make it through to this year's E-Club World Cup Grand Final. As we join it now. 2-1 is the scoreline. Team Footwears this time kick it in their traditional black and green strip from left to right. Napoli Esports from right to left. You would not believe there is no affiliation to the football club. They're just an esports team based in Naples. Early start they'll be looking for. Mbappe! Two defenders there, had to just double up. Ethan and Nick Sneb just threw anybody in the way there, and it just did enough, Alex.
They'll be very grateful to see the defenders get a vital block in there early on in the game. But Napoli, we spoke about, have they got that ability to bounce back? Can they dig deep? That there just gives them confidence to grow into this game and say, already, we've started off how we started that first leg on the front foot.
Ethan in possession now for Team Footwears. Not for too long, Paul Pogba. One of those players that's just caused nightmares throughout this tournament. He was in the open pool of players you could choose, Alex, and the recent promo item that he's had, he's just become a very usable, much more than a central midfielder.
Yeah, he's been vital to so many teams throughout the recent weeks, but also as well, we noticed there the 5-4-1. That's where it has its con. Pogba picked up the ball, he only had R9 in front of him to play the ball to. Footwears pressed, won that ball back.
Oh, Nick Sneb, so close to finding the killer pass across the box. They're working in the smallest of areas with Mbappe. That's what he's all about, isn't it?
That's what he can do. Such a big repertoire of all the skill moves and the cancellations and the combinations. It's impressive, and you know that they're feeling it when they're starting to pull out these skill combos. Also Napoli here starting to be a bit more aggressive in pressing, which I think is necessary. You don't want to waste time, so to say, by playing too passive when you're behind in a game like this. You have to come forward as well, have to make your opponent feel that you're pressing.
Footwears on the hunt for a third. The third time in the E-Club World Cup. They had a decent run back in FIFA 21. It was during the online era, where it was their South American outfit. They actually got a top 2 in their regional finals. This is the furthest they have ever gone in an offline environment with an E-Club World Cup. This is brave from Napoli Esports, playing the tightest of areas, but they're happy to do that. They get themselves out of that spot of bother.
You definitely see one of the strategies Footwears have. They're just playing wide, trying to bait Napoli to leave the central area, just to time the play into the box, finding the likes of Mbappe or Pele or Ronaldinho.
Just the home, keep an eye on the constant player switching between Team Footwears there. The way they're doing such a good job of closing down all the angles, making it hard for Napoli. It's a running race now. Usman Dembele, has he got the legs? Over Capdevila, he's come all the way over from left back to try and stop this attack. Does force Footwears to go back to Camavinga, punched into the feet of Pele. This is Nick Sneb now. What have you got in your locker? De Jong, back inside to Pele again. Wilfried Zaha timed that tackle to perfection.
Brilliant defending there from Napoli. It looked like De Jong was going to go down to the bottom of the screen. Instead, goes for that reverse pass back into the 18-yard box. Napoli equal to it, though. Saw it coming. Footwears looking to drive those passes and be really direct into the area.
Napoli's turn to make something happen. Zidane pushed out to this left-hand side. Socrates and him will interchange the two icons. This is nice in such a tight area. There's Pogba! A lovely little shimmy away. Did time it green, but just not to be.
Not to be, but you have to give credit to Footwears there.
Oh no. Terrible mistake. Well recovered by Ethan of Ruben Diaz. They got away with that one.
Ruben Diaz did just about enough to stand up to Pogba and to be there, to try and make it difficult for him to get an easy shot on goal. I think it went through the legs, hit the woodwork. Napoli showing that they're slowly starting to create some more chances.
What a chance that was from Paul Pogba. This game's starting to come to life now as time is ticking away from Napoli. Pogba again seems to be the danger man. Little ball roll scoop turn, whips it deep into Mbappe. Can't quite beat Ousmane Dembele, and it went back to the goalkeeper in the end.
We mentioned earlier on about how at fullback we're seeing Klosterman and Camavinga in this 4-4-2, and it can be so good when you come up against those crosses. Camavinga showing his worth there, a little bit taller than maybe some of the fullbacks we've seen over previous years. You can see why that selection's coming through.
Yeah, very, very vital last second save there from Camavinga, and we've seen it a few times here in the first half that Footwears just in the last second saves the day. They have to start finding those opportunities again, offensive-wise.
Next step, dancing in the box. Can't tip out, there's Bruno Fernandes. You saw the idea there, just to drop the shoulder on Socrates. It's half-time we go. 45 minutes away, our team Footwears from a grand final of the Club World Cup. Napoli, though, are still in this game, especially with the chance they just were able to create.
Yeah, it gets to that point now, as we're coming up to the break to go into this second half. Conversations start to be had of, when do we change something? When do we come out of this 5 at the back, or do we even come out of the 5 at the back? You think that's something, Aggie, that they will do?
I think they will definitely change at some point if the result stands, and we also see heavy discussions here where they're trying to break down what do we need to do. I think we'll definitely see it within 25, 30 minutes going over to a 4-back line or a 3-back line even. Could be the 3-4-2-1, just adding that constant pressure and trying to get back into the match. But I also feel like they ended up this first half of the second leg really well, just having those moments where it could have been a goal. So they're probably feeling that they should continue doing what they're doing right now until, or if they don't score.
And how hard is it as a pro in these environments, Hagen, to not, like, in your head overthink that change?
I think at this stage here, you're so much in the game that you're not overthinking too much. You're not too stressed. But that will come, no worries.
I think you're right, look. They're only 1 goal behind as we jump back into this one live now. Paul Pogba came so close to an equaliser in that first half. Team Foot was happy to play in no man's land along the back line. Sometimes you've got to be brave, and that's what Ethan and Nick's never happy to do.
As you'll be impressed, you have to have confidence in your ability to, take out that man that's pressing you, Zidane. Klosterman with just that beautiful turn. It takes out that press, gives you time to then find the space out towards the wing or in the middle.
Maldini and Zidane battling. Falls back Kylie. There's Mbappe now. Nick Sneb so nearly finding a way around 3 players. Wins a corner. Can we see here? Keep an eye on the players being moved around the front post and the back post. Ruben Diaz at the front post and the goalkeeper. Virgil van Dijk also looking to tease his run now. You can just see Ethan in control of him for a split second. Now they change. Van Dijk is there in the air. Doesn't come to anything, but the press is still on. Kimpembe into Hullet, and they play out of that spot of danger. Both teams have been so brave in those areas.
They have, and Footwears are quite happy at the minute, because if they put that press on and they force them to switch the ball, it just means they get all of their numbers back and they can just sit with that 4-4-2 and make it very comfortable. They have the ball, and this right now, you see the pause coming through from Napoli. They're looking at it and going, maybe we need to change something. We need to try and sit higher up the pitch and put that pressure on the opposing team.
Well, we said, Aga, when that pause was going to come. 10 minutes in, there it is.
Yeah, and it came earlier than expected, but they also know that they have to change something up because they haven't really done too much here in the second half, but maybe this situation could be.
After Villa. Oh no, what a save! It was nearly a complete stitch-up from Virgil van Dijk. He had no idea what he was doing. He put the ball back across. He put on a plate to R9.
Yeah, and I think Napoli is starting to realize where they are creating their chances. It is on the flanks, making those early crosses. Just sometimes the ball just falls down to you. You'll get a bit of that luck trying to look for it again here.
Got back. Building into this now in Napoli, under 30 minutes away to keep their tournament status alive. Zidane on the finesse. And it's another incredible save from Team Footwears' goalkeeper.
Pressure came on there because Napoli already switched up their formation and went into a fullback. We saw Capdevere flying forward. Also, R9 just having a little bit more room around him with players to kind of play off. And when you lay it into those strikers and then go back, that's where you can see those centre mids and the 4-3-2-1 have the ability to look for that long-range finesse. We see time and time again why Van der Sar is picked by pretty much every single team throughout these tournaments. 6'7", he just reaches into that top corner so well.
Yeah, and they're looking for the fortune right now, Napoli, just trying everything, trying different angles. We just saw the finesse, as you guys said, and they tried the early crosses, and they're creating the chances now. So maybe it's a small dilemma for them now to go into the pause and thinking like, we're creating the chances now, so do we actually need to change something? But I think as the clock is ticking, they might change regardless now, or they will give it maximum 10-15 minutes until changing.
Ethan's heart rate has gone up by another 25 since the start of this game.
They still look so calm. So many moments yesterday where I think you look across any other team, they'll be going mental, they'll be going crazy when they've just won a penalty shootout. It's like they've been through so much already, them two players, at such young age of heartbreak. Ethan came second in this tournament, lost in a penalty shootout back in FIFA 20. They've experienced the lows of competitive FIFA. They could be experiencing the highest of highs today. Another save from Van der Sar. That's 3 of them now in the last 10 minutes. Corner to come in again. Let's jump back to the action. What are we going to see now from Napoli? Hullit's there towards the front post. There's the flick on. It's another good save. Is there any way to stop Hullit? Again, Hullit, front post. He's got 3 shirts around him, but there you go. Finally, someone could stop him. Chance to break. Long ball forwards. There's a running race available now. Pele, has he got the legs on 2 or 3 defenders? This is Nixnev now. Show us something magic in the final third. Does well to just take a little bit of time out of the game. Maybe got a bit too confident. There's Wilfried Zaha. That was to pick up possession. And Napoli Sports come back down the other end now. Time ticking away. Pogba. Socrates, Hullit. Where's that shot? Where's that killer pass going to come from? Keep an eye on R9. Omri, both queuing up on the edge of the box. This is a massive chance now. Can he break away with the legs? It's Paul Pogba. You want to play it that's a little bit faster, but he's doing one hell of a shift there. Cutback available. There it is. There's Pele for Nixnev. Can't ball roll it through the legs of Wilfried Zaha. And again, we're going back down the other end.
A fantastic step there from Danny for Napoli to just be aggressive and say, you are not getting past us, and we are going to have our chance to come forward and go again. 20 minutes remaining. Napoli knocking on that door.
Keep an eye on those crosses. Omri tries to get back. He comes on late into this game now for Napoli. Socrates punches it into Mbappe. He wasn't confident enough, was Danny Holt, to turn his man there. Unbelievable chance now for Team Footwears. Don't rush the ball forward. Game management now is what you're going to see, especially with all this money on the line. Grand final spot awaits, where they will be taking on Team Hullit or RB Leipzig, I should say, in the grand final here at the Club World Cup. If they can hold on 10 more minutes. Maldini with a massive win, so high up the pitch. Finds Pogba now. Is there a cross in the box? Cut back, Socrates. Big save. And it goes out in the end for a goal kick. Unfortunate for Napoli. But fantastic news if you're a Footwears fan.
Footwears switching over to that flat 5-4-1 now, just saying, let's put our numbers back. We've seen the 4-4-2 work, a treat to get them into that lead. Now for Ethan and Nixneb, it's about how can we lock this defence down, limit the opponent to next to no chances. It's now or never for Napoli.
Yeah, it definitely is, and they're just prepping for the last tactics here because they have to throw everything forward, and I'm quite confident that they'll have a few more chances here because pressure is just so efficient when you put all those men forward. You can also see them here discussing, being very clear next to each other.
We can see why Luco's the one that does all the talking, all the communicating. His heart rate, it's the lowest out of all 4 of these players right now. His teammate at the highest, sat in 150, feeling that pressure.
Sure, will go up and up and up as this tournament gets to the final stages for one of these two teams. 10 minutes left. There will be chances, there will be moments. Who's got the bottle? That's the bigger question. Team Footwears 9 minutes away from a grand final, but they're going to have to defend this constant wave of Italian pressure from Napoli. Watch the crosses as more players just bundle him forward. It's a heavy touch, it's a horrible touch. Mbappe, well defended there by Martinez. Right place, right time, and a chance to break away. Big win from Kimpembe. Napoli come again on the hunt. There's Mbappe, and there's the equaliser. Back in the tie. They never said no.
A loss of possession for Footwears that has proven to be vital. The halfway line, they're trying to find their way out of that press that we saw from Napoli being more aggressive. Defender just stands up. Ethan's trying to go, are you going left, are you going right? Reads it wrong ever so slightly, but Napoli take that chance. All level.
Yeah, and they've been knocking on the door. They had the clear chances in this second leg here, and also it got quite cagey and they started panicking, just not being able to get that ball wide, Footwears, because when you're just losing the ball centrally, it can go so fast here, and that's exactly what happens. And yeah, kind of a deja vu here, just
Both
with the
players
opposite.
a bit more excited, aren't they now?
Yeah, and it's the opposite, because Footwears were the team that actually managed to come back all the time, but now they throw the lead. So very interesting.
They never make it easy, Footwears, do they?
No. As much as right now, they're obviously going to be having those conversations. It's 2-2. They've gone to extra time. They've gone to penalties. They know what they need to do should it go that way. However, I did just want to say, Danny, heart rate was up at 180 then. That was me on the treadmill yesterday morning. He's just playing FIFA.
I can imagine that late goal just sparked the heart rate for both of them too. As you can see, the Saudi fans slowly building up here in our championship final day. We've got about 7 minutes left, I believe. Sorry, less than that now. About 5 minutes of normal time here. Is extra time on the cards again here in Riyadh? More drama at the E-Club World Cup, or is there a late winner? Team Footwears could have this last attack, but it has to be perfect. Show us what you've got. Not that. Definitely not that.
Not the possession loss you want to have at this stage of the game. You want to be able to have that last attack. Let's see if they can solve this pressure. Napoli, patient, and we know this. Just gonna wait things out, go for that last attack.
Added time of 2 minutes is a generous added time period. That gives plenty of time for Napoli. Socrates, pull it, Mbappe. Henry, big switch of play. There's the flick on. This could be Scene's last chance of the game. Defend it well. Extra time is needed. 30 more minutes will be needed here. We'll have a breather just for a second. We want to bring two people into this conversation. Richard Buckley, Michael Bell, what's been your thoughts on this one?
Brandon, I've been watching it through my fingers.
Rich, you called it.
You knew that Napoli were going to get a chance, and it was if they took that chance. There were just too many stray passes, Mike.
Well, it's also Footwears. I don't expect the game to not have extra time. Maybe even some penalties. Why not add it into the equation? It's beautiful step overs there. Change of direction, left foot, Mbappe, goalkeeper, down bad, down packed. Couldn't do anything with it.
He messed up on the step overs maybe 2 minutes before, and it was a bad choice. This time he hit the step overs, got the acceleration out of it, and we're going to extra time, somewhere where Footwears almost come into their own in extra time.
It just seems like it has to be part of the Footwears narrative. So if you're a fan of Footwears, obviously don't turn off the TV, don't turn off your screen, but you should be optimistic. This has been working out for them over the last few days.
Guys, we're about to get underway in extra time. Brandon, Aga and Alex, enjoy it, 30 more minutes.
Yeah, thank you very much. We'll try to enjoy. We just got our breaths back after an action-packed last 10 minutes or so. This has been the story of Napoli, though, Alex, hasn't it? They just never give up, do they? A team that no one expected much from. They fought their way, as we said, through the European southeastern side of the regional qualifiers. First ever offline tournament for those two. And you just don't know what to expect. No one knows what to expect from this team.
I've said it time and time again over the last 4 days. Fearless. This is Footwears. They know how good they are. They're just saying it's fine. We'll go through. We'll come back from behind should we need to. Taking it into that extra time. I do want to draw attention though, because Napoli have been applying that pressure, they've been aggressive in that press. They've made their 5 substitutions. Stamina bars on that defence are looking a little bit more shaky for Napoli. Should Footwears have fresh legs in that attack and get up against Maldini, who's going to have a lot less stamina, you might see an attacker just burst away.
Well, one thing you may have just seen on your screen, there's been a handful of changes. Here's one now, Paul Pogba for Team Footwears. Oh, what a save from Courtois. The shot was in time, but regardless, it was a ridiculous save from the Belgian shot stopper.
Huge save there from Courtois. It was almost perfect from Footwears. The time to pull roll in, go for that Trivella to that far post. You're just expecting to see the back of the net ripple. Courtois stands strong. Napoli, very grateful for that.
As I wanted to say, Footwears being very generous on the substitutions that have just come on, a handful of them on the pitch, including the likes of Hugo Lloris. Yes, believe it or not, playing as a central midfielder, he is. Omri, Messi comes on. And I think Martinez at the back, that was a change that's made in the normal, regular 90 minutes. We've got a free kick here from the edge of the box, 30 metres away from goal. They play it short to Van Dijk, then they'll look to recycle it all the way back around. Already 10 minutes gone in extra time. They'll be thinking in the back of their mind, surely not more penalties after the penalty whirlwind we experienced yesterday. 30 plus penalties between them and Ajax. This time it's a very different game. Napoli getting their first real taste of possession in this first half of extra time.
Yeah, Footwears just starting here at the extra time with that chance, and I mean, I can't help wonder if that shot would have been green, if that would have been enough. Maybe that's just the occasion now. You are more nervous, you can see it as well here. No one really wants to take those risks, but just as I say that,
team press comes on.
It looks like it's the case for Napoli. We'll play for the last chance of the half, which is a ballsy move if it goes wrong. Flick on, there's the run, there's Benzema, one of their drafted players. Keeper teased off his line, power shot from Benzema. Pulls a big save out from the goalkeeper. Out we go to a corner. Both players just look at each other now for a bit of advice on what you want to do from this corner. Benzema's in there, he just came on in this extra time period. Watch his run towards the front post. There you go, you can see now the blue cursor above his head, that's Luco controlling him. Danny Holt actually will go towards the front post. Manuel Neuer potentially scoring a winner. Great save from the goalkeeper, but this is what you're looking at. The recent shapeshifter promo has given goalkeepers a new breed of life.
You can see the game plan already from bringing on Manuel Neuer in that extra time. That first chance that we just saw that came through into that power shot, they go for that dink ball into Manuel Neuer. He's 6'5" in the middle of that park. Again, 99 strength, 99 aggression, 99 jumping. What does that mean? It means he wins pretty much every header. It gives you chances, it gives you angles of attack that maybe you wouldn't have if you had a more traditional centre midfielder there. But we saw Neuer even on that near post as well. It gives you so much more angles to look for and threat from those corners.
yeah, definitely. And regardless if Manuel Neuer heads it past to another player, there can still be like these kind of random fall downs where you can get the ball, or it can cause some panic with the players switching, etc. So an interesting tactic there from Napoli.
15 minutes, people. Are we off for more penalty drama here at the Club World Cup? Or is there going to be a hero? Which of these two players from the team is going to step up to be accounted for in a semi-final, which will double your prize money? Double that tournament status of a grand final outing. Camavinga wins it back nicely. This is Napoli. Big win there from Hugo Lloris, fresh for the extra time period. Offering you a box-to-box midfielder. Camavinga, heavy touch, recovers that one well. We are getting so close. One good chance, if you're lucky, for one of these two teams to have. You have to be perfect in all angles of the pitch. Here's Ethan in control of Henry now. Team Footwears looking to get up for one of their last chances of the half. Henry still, is there an option in the box? Scoop turn back inside. This is nice, great save from Courtois. Still alive, Mbappe. Something special here from Ethan. He gets back to the goalkeeper, he panics, but just about gets it clear.
Wow. Some chance right there.
Penalties.
Certainly looks like it, Brandon.
Are we off to a $150,000 penalty shootout? I think we might be. If not, somebody prove me wrong now. And in time of 1 minute, Napoli, your last roll of the dice or last mistake. Footwears with the last chance of the game. A chance to win it now or not. Penalty shootout. We're off to it right now. Club World Cup grand final will be decided here. Footwears are back again at the dreaded penalties. Footwears score the first one. Manuel Neuer now steps up for Napoli. He does score as well.
See here, Martinez. What can he do? Picks the right way here. Gets the goal for Footwears.
Napoli to bounce back now with Benzema. Save, Van der Sar!
Oh no, not you, Pogba. The worst run-up in the game for Footwears. Is it 3 from 3? It's Nick step over it of Pogba. Which way will he go? Saved! Napoli with a chance to put it right. Up steps Henry. Which way will he go? Down the middle and scores.
Then we're all square here. Mbappe tries for the Panenka, but saved.
Panenka not coming through there. Time for Napoli to try and take the lead in this penalty shootout. Saved again.
And we're all square into penalty number 5. Thierry Henry for Footwears down the middle. Have to score, Napoli. Have to score to stay in the tournament. Up steps Hullet. Which way will he go? Saved by Team Footwears. They will be Club World Cup grand finalists. Mission impossible might just be possible, ladies and gentlemen.
There is something about this Footwears team this year. Backs up against the wall time and time again, and they come out victorious every single time.
How many more games, Aga, can they go through? How many more?
I mean, they only just have to get past one more.
Just one more, Aggie.
But heartbreaking, obviously, for Napoli. I think they approach this match amazing, and the entire competition, obviously, for Footwears, remarkable. And once again, those margins, they're going Footwears' way.
Yeah, they certainly are indeed. I mean, look, at least this time they didn't have to go through 2 rounds of penalties, but there is one team that's in the grand final, and Spencer's got the latest with them now.
Wow, guys, you've done it again. You could win this whole thing without winning a game in normal time in the knockouts. Is that the plan now? Honestly, it's so concerning, but like this one, it didn't even feel surreal. It actually felt normal because how concerning it is. Extra time, penalties. It feels regular to win like this now. It's so weird. I thought this might be where you came undone because the other two you came back from losing positions. This time you were in the lead and they got back in the game. Did that feel different going into extra time and penalties?
Yeah, it did feel a bit different that like we kind of threw the game away, but then made back in penalties. But as I said earlier, just win the game. That's all that matters. But I don't know how much more I can take of this. It's just penalties every time, extra time. Like one mistake and you're out. Like one good thing, like you're through. Like it's margins, and hopefully the margins on our side.
At this level, it really is, isn't it? I mean, that's a $150,000 game you've just won, by the way. Could go up to $300,000 in the final. What would that mean to you?
It'd mean a whole lot, but like I said yesterday, it's not about the money, it's about winning the tournament. That's the main aim. We want to win this tournament. We're the best team.
Is that the biggest moment so far in your FIFA career, would you say, that game there? Or is it still to come?
Hopefully, it's still to come, but right now, absolutely.
Well done, guys. Have a little bit of a rest, but not too much for a rest. We're going to see him in the final shortly. Of course, though, with a winner, we do have a losing team as well as I cross into the Napoli booth here. Guys, commiserations. It's an unbelievable tournament from you all. I know you're going to be feeling upset now, but do you think in time you'll be able to look back and be proud of what you've done here?
Yeah, we are so proud of what we have done. It was a long journey. We did very well. We are sorry for the people who support us because they are our biggest strength, but we will come back stronger.
What does the future hold for you guys? Because you're a new team, a young team. You've been so impressive in one of your first real big events. Like, how bright is the future for Napoli?
This is only the beginning and not an end, so we will do better and better.
And do you want to give a shout out to your coach here as well? Because I saw him get really involved in the game. You've got a great team here, not just the two players, but the whole squad helping you get this far.
He is not our coach, he is our father, so he's a really special person.
I love that, guys. Listen, commiserations, you've been fantastic. I'm sure we'll see you again soon. Napoli Esports, everybody, unbelievable tournament from them. They were the lowest ranked team going into the knockouts, and it was only penalties that stopped them getting into the final. But we know Team Footwears Europe have got a final spot. The question is, Rachel, who's going to join them?
Oh, thanks so much, Spen. Yeah, commiserations for Napoli there, but top 4 in the world in their first international event here at the FIFAe Club World Cup. It's pretty special. We know they trained for this event and it certainly paid off, but we have to now talk about Team Footwears. They've already played 13 matches, guys, on the way to getting here. They have one more to go. Lee, what a journey they have had so far over the course of the last 4 days.
Yeah, I mean, Ethan just said it himself. It just feels normal now. It's been an incredible journey. You know, 15 penalties, I think it was, in the round of 16, 119th minute goal in the round of 8, and now another penalty shootout. Magnificent stuff. Let's look at the goals, obviously, from that game, because honestly, I gotta feel Napoli were the ones putting the pressure on towards the end of that match.
Rich, I felt the pressure really came from Napoli. It was the second half of the second leg there. For about 60 minutes onward, they just looked like a different team.
Well, they had to as well. Like, they're going out, if not. Very similar. Whenever you're in a losing position, it's pretty simple, the aim. You just got to press. You put the tactics on, you put the instructions on. It's a very simple mindset. And there was a change. Footwears have played majority of this tournament in a back 4. They switched to a back 5 to try and protect the lead. It just invited a little bit more pressure onto them into that second leg. But, I mean, Team Footwears, it's not luck at this point. They stay in the games. They've conceded first in nearly every single match, but they never get blown away. They're always in the game. They stay in the game, and they peak late.
And talk about being able to deal with some adversity. But it's kind of a double-edged sword, to your point. When you switch to the 5 at the back and it works, we all say, whoa, what a great decision you made, or maybe we don't even address it. However, when they concede, then we say, oh, you had too much pressure, you invited that pressure, and it gets a lot more difficult for you. We say, maybe you should have stayed like that. So if it works well, maybe you don't even get the compliment, we don't even mention it.
It don't matter.
They got the result. They got the result.
We get a couple more highlights here. This is the Napoli goal to level things, Mike.
Yeah, just a gorgeous step over, change of direction. It's quick-witted. It has that diagonal. You set yourself up with Mbappe, top of the box, and it gives you a little more of a 50-50 with the goalkeeper movement they chose, right? And then we went to penalties, of course.
I mean, it took us to that. Rich, I'd have said, I wouldn't have blamed Footwears, I'd have blamed Pogba as well if that hadn't have gone their way there. That's where I was going with that. Let's have a look then at that penalty shootout. So the last two, the deciding penalties
Hopefully
as well.
not Pogba's run up. We're going to be here for a while.
Yeah, this is Nick Steb here, stepping up from the spot, slams it straight down the middle after they just had a Panenka down the middle saved the last time around. And Napoli eSports step up, score to stay in it, guess the right way. Ethan dives to the left, Edwin van der Sar, the hero, and Team Footwears go through.
I love the mind games of it as well. You know, purposely go over to the left to be like, yeah, no, look at all this space. And off he went. And he'd done it a couple of times before. It paid off. Sometimes it hadn't worked, but it's the mind games in the penalties. And as Ethan said, they're experienced in it now. They've been there so many times.
They have been there so many times. Obviously, penalties yesterday, we spoke about that record-breaking maybe 30 goals needed in that penalty shootout for them to find their way through. Now, Mike, I'm going to ask you this one as a pro FIFA player yourself. When you've done 13 matches, do you get drained at this stage? Obviously, weekend league, you play loads, but it's a lot to go through. I know it's 4 days. Are they tired yet?
I was going to say, if you had to do all those games back to back to back, of
Yes.
course, mentally fatigued, you probably have so many struggles as well, considering they always go to penalty kicks. But at this point, you're rolling with the adrenaline, the heartbeat or the heart rate is up. And now they're just going to be thinking about, can we finish this in the finals? I don't think there's any sort of mental fatigue or some sort of issue in that regard. If anything, you start feeling this is your tournament.
I feel like we thought it was their tournament. It feels like the writing is possibly on the wall this year for Team Footwears. They are our first grand finalists. There they are. I hope they're looking at that on a big stage, actually, just to prove a point that they've got so far already in these 4 days. Yeah, we talk about luck, but you still have to perform at the top level, Rich.
EA Sports Cup, Team Hulk Ninja Pyjamas beat them on penalties to get an auto spot here to the Club World Cup. All the way back January 16th that happened. Here we are now, 6 months later. They've done it on penalties, and it seems to be the tournament of penalties. Crazy how the story turns out.
So you're saying you think they want to face them or they prefer to face RB Leipzig?
I think they match up nicer against Team Hulk Ninja in Pyjamas. I always think they'll be in the game. I also think what Leipzig can do, which none of the other two teams have got in the locker, is a 5-6 goal blitz of a flash where you're always going to be in the game against Hulk Ninja in Pyjamas. You might be out of the game by half-time against Leipzig.
Yeah, well, we'll have to wait and see. We have one more semi-final underway. We can have a quick look at the team's statistics, actually, as well, coming into this second semi-final. Well, these boys, we know how good they are, and they've been developing, haven't they, over the past couple of years, Mike, to get to this point.
And I'm telling you, out of all the teams here, they have the most experience, and they have the most success. So don't read into that world ranking of a 18. That doesn't do justice. These guys already won an event earlier, an event that Leipzig took part in.
Lee, they got to this very spot last year as well. Couldn't make it further.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you look at the stats, this is my worry, right? Okay, going into this game, if they go 2-3 behind, average goals 0.7, they don't score that many, but they're fantastic at defense. So if they can lock them down, that's great. But if they can't, it worries me. During all that, while that penalty shootout was going on, while the excitement of reaching the semi-final, Anders was sat behind us with his coach watching replays. They were not watching the penalty shootout. They were just watching replays.
Well, do you read into that much? He's a complete expert. He's young, and he's already doing all his homework to make sure he's a world champion.
I think we should bring in the coaching to this as well. You saw Renzo there. I guarantee that Renzo will have something packaged with Alito and Levy to try to counteract a fast-paced, high-tempo game, because we know that's what Leipzig wants. And at the same time, Daniel from Leipzig, their coach, is going to be trying to push some sort of pressure-based agenda.
I mean, Leipzig are the most entertaining team to watch, but they're also just so impactful in the final third. Like, you can see some of the stats here. Average shots, 4.7. They showed they can face adversity as well, which is something that a lot of question marks are about. When they go down a goal or 2 goals, is there a self-implode? Is there potentially a self-destruct button there? They kept composed. They got back in the game against Brøndby. I also think that is an individual case that we'll look back at and go, when Anders really wants to beat his opponent more than anything else, you might see a little bit of that extra spice in there from Anders.
And we haven't heard the Saudi fans, but they're here. In fact, there's more Saudi fans here than there were throughout the entirety of the week, and they're here for Anders. I'm just going to throw that out there because he likes the energy in the room.
Can I quickly say as well, it's a coach off, because I think these are the best coaches
I agree.
in FIFAe esports. Maybe they take a scalp. Whoever wins this gets to the final. We kind of go, oh, maybe they are the best.
The most successful players with these two coaches, so I would say that stands as an objective view of the best coaches.
Well, we have 2 mini competitions running in this semi-final, and well, get yourselves ready. Semi-final 2 is coming your way. Let's get ready then to welcome, Spen, our next 2 clubs.
Thank you, Rachel. Yes, just 2 games between now and when someone will be lifting that epic FIFAe Club World Cup trophy. I'm so excited. This next semi-final is going to be a massive one. Please join me in welcoming our first semi-final team to the stage. It is Team Hullet Ninjas in Pyjamas. Here they come then, led by Olelito with Levi David not far behind. And of course, Coach Renzo is the 3rd man there, much talked about by our studio there. These guys ranked 18th in the world currently. No goals conceded in the knockout games so far. Will that still be the case after this game of FIFA? Welcome, gentlemen. Now, of course, if Team Hullet Ninjas in Pyjamas are going to make the final, they're going to have to beat what many people are saying the favourites for this tournament. So please join me in welcoming them to the stage. It is, of course, RB Leipzig Gaming. Led by the reigning FIFAe World Cup champion, Umut, and behind him, one of the most exciting names in FIFA esports right now is Anders. And as you can hear, they are a popular team here in Riyadh. This is sure to be one of the matches of the tournament. Welcome, gentlemen, to the stage. Before we do the coin toss with head referee James, I have a couple of questions for you guys, starting off with Team Hullet Ninjas in Pyjamas. Now, I know we're talking about the rankings not being read into too much, but let me tell you something. In the 13 knockout games we've had so far, on 9 occasions, the higher ranked team has won. 70% of the time, it is a good indicator of who would win. RB Leipzig are just slightly higher ranked than you guys. Does that make you the underdog?
I think so. I mean, if you look at the rankings, maybe. I think a lot of people see them as favorites. So, yeah, I would say so.
Levi, have you got a plan, not just to deal with what is a great team, but also the potential of having the crowd against you? Because RB Leipzig have definitely got a real fan base here, haven't they?
They have, yeah. Yeah, I like it, to be honest. I've played for a big crowd in the Eredivisie, but the Arabians are different, and I think it's not a negative thing for us.
Best of luck to you guys. A massive game ahead for you. And of course, as I join Umut here and Anders, FIFAe World Cup reigning champion, number 4 ranked in the world currently. As a team, 14th, which is only second to Footwears, who are ranked 11th. In this game, I'll ask you the same question I asked those guys. Does this make you the favourite to win this matchup?
I don't know if we are the favorites. I really don't care about who's the favorite. We just look on our game and want to win that. The guys also won the TOTS Cup like 5 months ago, I think, in 2v2. So I think like we are both really, really good, and everyone expected us to be in the semifinals.
It's going to be a fantastic game for sure. And you've developed a real fan base here. I saw you giving a shirt out in the crowd earlier, and we saw massive celebrations from you in the last match. If you were to win this one, would the celebrations be even bigger?
I can't say it now. I don't think so, because it was a Danish team, but it would be a very tough match. I think they didn't concede yesterday, but I think if we play good, we're going to win.
2 fantastic teams, make no mistake. It's now time to do the coin toss with head referee James. We've got a blue side of the coin and a green side of the coin. James, which side of the coin belongs to which team?
Blue side is TGNIP, green side is RB Leipzig.
Okay, take it away, please, James. This is to decide who gets kickoff in the second match. And it is blue, which was Team
Hullet.
Team Hullet NIP then will have kickoff in the second game. Guys, you can make your way to your booths. Good luck. Make your way to your booths, please, guys. Wow, I can't wait for this one. This is a massive matchup between TGNIP and RB Leipzig. I'm going to hand you over to our casters now, Lee and Mike, and I'm going to be joining them as well. Gentlemen, looking forward to this one?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, we are. Get yourself running, Spencer. Get up here. We're going to be seeing you in just a moment. But yeah, I mean, magnificent game coming up here. We had epic day yesterday. We've already had penalty shootout today, Mike. Where do we go now?
I'm telling you, every single day has lived up to the competition. I'm not just saying that. I'm not trying to be politically correct in any sort of way. It's just been that good. The FIFA has lived up to it. I think this game will be no different. And we talked about it a little bit in the preview, but you're going to have a masterclass of a tactical approach, especially from the coaching staff. They both have big teams. They develop talent. They're known for these things. And it's going to be a matter of can you counteract each other. A difference of styles. You've got the offensive push forward, very fluid RB Leipzig, and then you're looking at a little more controlled, more structured with TG and IP.
You've got 3 veterans, I think it's safe to say, and a prodigy effectively coming in here. A magnificent game ahead of us, I feel. The defensive masterclass, I think it's safe to say, from Team Hull at NIP. They have been really very strong, but they don't score many goals. And I said it on the couch just a moment ago, my worry is that if Leipzig go running, you know how Anders gets, if he gets going, if he gets those goals, he's got Umut backing him up. They're not going to make too many defensive errors either. So if they start to get those goals early, what the Hull do? Well, how do they rein it in and get going? I mean, Levy, Oli Lito, they're massive players, but can they get the goals?
Well, Levy has the origin story of actually being one of those offense players, similar to an Anders. Especially online, he kind of came through that period where we're in that online portion of a lot of qualifications. He wasn't known as a structured guy. He was known for the mechanical play, the going for it all-out offense. We just haven't seen that as much in this 2v2 partnership because Olito takes such a lead in the structure and the setup, and they've gone a lot more defensive. And I'm sure that's partially from Renzo, their coach, as well.
Yeah, I mean, you wonder with Anders what the best approach is as an opposition, because part of me thinks if you let them get the lead, it might lure them into a false sense of security and you can nick a late goal against them, because we saw what happened yesterday when they went down. He just went on to a new level, especially with this crowd behind him. And you've got to allow for the crowd. I really think it's adding like a 10-15%, little bit of extra for these guys. And unfortunately for, the Team Hullet guys, it is going to be against them in this match.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel, I would almost say they're home favourites, as they were in Copenhagen. Just say it's kind of the home favourites here. But yeah, I mean, for Anders, obviously, we've had a lot of talk about Anders, but we should probably talk about Umut.
Of course.
This is a world champion right here. Like, obviously, all the talk about his team. He's happy to have all the limelight talk about him. But I talked to him earlier on. He, it's just quietly confident. I said, we saw a small smile come out of you towards the end of the last match. And once the 5th goal went in, said, what's the plan? He's just like, just going to do my thing. He's like, just play it the way he is. I guess for him, and we saw it yesterday, it's all about letting the coach control what Anders does in terms of hyping the crowd. We saw him trying to sit him down, and he just goes about his business, and they just 2 experienced players.
I think what we're going to see with this matchup and why maybe it's working so well for RB Leipzig is, and not to take away from Umut at all, but with Anders, he needs a certain kind of partner, I would suggest, to get the best out of him. And I think it's something we're going to see again in E-Nations with the way that the Danish teams select their team as well. And obviously Umut, not being a Dane, won't be able to play with Anders in that one. But let's not forget, yes, he hasn't qualified for this year's FIFAe World Cup as the champion. He won't be retaining it this year. But he's still ranked 10th in the world. That makes him the 2nd highest ranked player in terms of the 1v1 FIFA World Cup rankings after Anders. This is the best possible team of 2 individual players you could make. The problem, or the question, I guess, is, do they gel as a team? Do they work well as a team? Clearly they do, but do they work enough to go against Team Hullet, who, by the way, David ranked 36th in the world. This is based on performances this year in the FIFAe World Cup. And Olelito ranked 80th, believe it or not.
It gets really tricky with a lot of these rankings, just depending on what you value and where you... This is also a 2v2, not a 1v1.
Of course,
so
I know, that's what I'm saying.
It doesn't necessarily matter, or it's not the one-to-one comparison, but I look at the EA Sports Cup that happened earlier, and I didn't think that Leipzig was clicking in the same way. They had moments that looked magical, and they had other moments where you said they were struggling. And that additional time has really allowed them to gel and build, to your point. And a big reason that Umut being a partnership and that working with Anders is very few people could probably handle the pressure of playing with Anders.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about on the virtual pitch, but every game being watched. It's kind of like finding a partner for Tex. We talked about that challenge. Or MS Desari, where every eye is always going to be on you in terms of FIFA and FIFA esports in particular.
And a word towards the humility of Umut in a way, because all the talk is about Anders. Imagine being the world champion, current world champion, and almost allowing Anders to steal so much of the spotlight. Not many people would be comfortable with that, so fair play to him.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, that's what things... 2v2 is all about controlling egos, right? And that seems to be... Umut has it reined in. Lets Anders go wild. We'll see how this one plays out. You saw just how chill the Team Hullet NIP guys were Olilito just chilling at like 90s.
That's going to go up pretty soon, I think.
We'll see. I mean, he turned around. Obviously, they're about ready to go. So Levy just closing his eyes, envisioning what they're going to do, try and get one of those early goals. We talked about, obviously, in the last matchup, just how important an early goal could be. Napoli were the ones that had to chase the game in the end. But I think if anyone's got to chase the game, RB Leipzig, they have it in them. I just worry, can TGNIP chase the game that way?
They're not going to try to let the game get to that level of being open and free flow. And just to track back to what Spencer had to say with rankings and reading into some of the players, for me, the reason that I kind of discredit some of the rankings and I look at experience and so forth and so on is because a lot of that's built on the FGS and deals with gathering points via online competition.
Yeah, of course.
When I look at in-person, I look at LAN events, I look at those success stories.
There's also a lot of things to think about with the fact that if players qualify for this competition earlier in the year, they might not have then needed to get those ranking points and gone up the leaderboard. So yeah, you're right, but all I'm saying is 70% of the time so far, the higher ranked team have won. That is a stat worth looking at.
Stats don't lie,
That's what they
like to say, yeah. Stats do not lie. But at the moment, it's going to be a cagey start. You've got to be careful you don't give away that early goal. We saw one, and I think it was, 4 or 5 minutes in for Napoli to get that goal early on. As you can see, RB Leipzig starting out in the white kit, the Leipzig kit, and TGNIP has that Team Hullet kit on the right side of your pitch. The black and the, is it yellow or green? It's like a
neon green.
Dirty yellow green.
You see that long throw to start. That's a new introduction to competitive FIFA, mainly because of some of the players with these goalkeepers having the shapeshifter options. You have big options to aim for that can knock it down. If you have a Savic in your team or a Petr Cech, you know he's going to win those types of 50-50s, even against other big center backs. And that's why you can go for a little more of a direct approach.
So as far as I'm aware, correct me if I'm wrong, captains for the team, Anders, so he's going to be the red icon in this case. And doing the defensive work there. Umut will be the yellow circle. Over on the other side, Levy is the dark blue captain. You look at, I'm looking at you. Spence, you've been on stage the whole time. You know, a chance, I guess you don't get a chance to stand behind them while they're playing. You can't join the coach there, but it is going to be TGNIP. Bit of a cagey start, slow start, just feeling each other out. No shots just yet as they try to switch the play. Van Persie, I don't think I've seen too many others using him. Obviously R9, Brandon was talking about obviously the drafts that you have. You've got the 3 key players there, everybody's got locked in. Everybody had that draft in their groups. A lot of people trying to pick out the players, trying to pick out the pass. We're going to get the first corner of the game here. These have been tasty so far.
Yeah, a big opportunity here for Leipzig to make something happen. They've gone short with it. Can they get a shot off here? Good defensive work from the man who's the team's named after, Ruud Gullit.
It's still so strange to see 5-star skill moves from Savic. He's taking over the midfield in many circumstances. Sometimes you even see him used as a center back. He wins everything in the air. He's got this different power and size and presence compared to most players, and then having the skills, having some of that agility. It's just weird. There's just no other way to really break it down. It's just unusual. It's unorthodox. And that's why he's become so valuable.
Absolutely. Ran off the ball, though. R9 doing some defensive work there. Just piling back. TGNIP, 20 minutes gone. Still no shots. This is what we expected with Team Hullet NIP with such a strong defensive record. They're just going to try and close down RB Leipzig. It's all about what you do with those direct balls, what you do with those chances. Chance brewing here. Hakimi to Mbappe. Working well. Last pass cut out by, of all people, Buffon in the defence in the centre-back role.
Mike and I were lucky enough to commentate on the last Team Hullet game, and it was a similar sort of affair, wasn't it? Back and forth, not a lot of chances. I think, yeah, we might not see the same amount of goals, perhaps, as the last game, but it's really a top level game. You're seeing like these little micro moments.
Oh,
this could be a big one. Oh, he put it wide. No, it was a deflection. Corner
Chance here for Hullet as they work it in. Henri to Martial, plays it back and quick to R9. Could go for the power shot. In the end, Van der Sar parries it. Corner number 2 coming up. Just
very
a quick little talk.
Early goalkeeper movement as well. You could aim anywhere. Slight movement from Van der Sar there that made a big difference.
Flicked it across. Van der Sar will collect.
Oh, he's made a mistake. Almost getting it straight to Ronaldo there.
Risky.
We don't want to see something like that decide one of these games, do we? We want to see a moment of genius as opposed to an error that gets someone this position in a final. We're talking about $150,000 minimum for the winning team in this game, because it could double if they were to go and win that final. Right now, the two teams just feeling each other out. No one wanted to make a mistake, because it is genuinely a $75,000 mistake if you make it.
And you can see the different approach from both these teams here, where I kind of teased it, but it looks like it's going to be the situation, at least as no one has got on the board. There's been no goals scored or conceded, but the speed and tempo is different. RB Leipzig, when they have the ball, they're going forward a little bit quicker. TG NIP, a little methodical, a lot of switching of the pitches. They're looking for these additional options, some sort of drop-off, and then they don't really go into taking risk until they get near that final third.
You look at yesterday's game, especially against Bromby, it was all about the long balls down the right, left wing, using the speed of Zaha and Henry, getting them through there. Obviously got Mbappe in the middle there. Rashford, one of the few teams using it. Oh, great finish! Leipzig take the lead. Just a little fist bump from Anders there, and the crowd absolutely loving it.
Big smile from the Dane there. It feels like he's about to claim his throne, isn't it, at the top of the world of competitive FIFA. It's been talked about for a long time, but with each game, Mike, each knockout that he progresses through, along with them, of course, it feels like he's getting ready to be crowned.
And it's Anders 101. Little step over there, takes the space, green time finish. He's just so dangerous. He puts you under so much pressure where you almost have to guess what he's going to do when he's going with some of those step overs, this quick change of direction. If you get it right, again, you look like a genius. We compliment you. If it goes wrong, you're going to concede a goal.
I think as long as it's one goal, though, as we talked about before, this isn't necessarily the worst case scenario for Team Ninjas in Pyjamas, because if they keep it a narrow scoreline and then hit them late, with no time to reply, that could be a good strategy, because I think the more time you give Anders to breathe and gain confidence and find the little loopholes he needs to win the game, that's when he becomes most dangerous.
And RB Leipzig.
Chance here maybe, Mbappe. Just working it through. Plenty of people in the box, trying to maybe use, I guess we could call him K11 these days. I don't know. We've got R9. I guess we haven't got another Mbappe yet. Break down the left wing. This is where the danger's been coming from Leipzig. It's worked well once again. R9, what's Anders going to do? He actually plays it back into Anders. It has to be, and it will be. 2! And now we see Anders out of his seat. Just a quick fist bump, but that is a great start for Leipzig before half-time.
To your point, this is getting problematic because we have not seen explosive scoring from TGNIP. You hear the crowd, they're chanting already, they're getting after it early. And I was going to say, if there's one maybe double-edged sword here when you're looking at RB Leipzig, they will press you. So if you get to that second line, there will be space for you to work with in order to create chances. But one of the same issues that I'm seeing right now with TGNIP is it's so slow with their build-up that they're not getting there quick enough. And that's where this becomes a concern, because I don't think we've even seen that much of a risk to reward RB Leipzig. This was pretty conservative with their press, and they already have 2 goals, and this is only the first half of the first leg.
I think what we saw there was a goal that was very typical to a 2v2 game. You wouldn't necessarily have seen it in a 1v1 because it involved a little bit of misinterpretation of the space by the centre-back. An amazing first touch, obviously. Once the ball is in the box and they're free, they're almost certainly going to score. So much of competitive FIFA is just about making sure your opponent never gets that exact chance, because the likelihood of an error being made there by a player of this quality is so small.
And it was a large error. If you revisit that second goal, they make the pass. It was almost rudimentary where they found some of the key lines of spacing, but they took the goalkeeper movement a little early. So you're moving the goalkeeper, so you're no longer chasing back with those center backs. They never had a challenge, and the goalkeeper was so far out of position, it was a tap-in. I would even bet all of us are finishing that one because we have so much time and space to work with.
I mean, maybe.
All right, yeah, maybe we're giving too much credit here.
I mean, we've got to get into position in the first place. That's what it's all about, of course. TGNIP, though, 2-0 down, half-time. I mean, this is just about probably worst scenario for them. I was talking to Footwears before their matchup, and Denman was talking about the fact that he's like, give me 2-3-0 first game. I'm absolutely loving it, and that's what they're going to be looking right now. RB Leipzig are in dreamland. This is the perfect start. First half, 2 goals, and now let's see what they can do. The danger has all been about that wing play, and we're seeing it once again in action here. And Mbappe ahead of his man, looking to maybe cut back, but in the end, a dangerous free kick position here. We've seen some interesting worked ones. Obviously, ordinarily, if this was just 1v1, you would just play it short, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Recycle the ball back through, try and look for that space, using Henry, seeing if Klosterman a man that's been used by just about every team, can work the space, big save from Courtois, corner coming through, played short, Henry. Once again back through the middle, lots of space in the middle of the park, and that was just too easy for Anders Wehrgang to smash on in the back of the net. The space, it just opened up for him.
And this game has opened up as well into a beautiful fixture between two very good teams.
RB Leipzig sending a message, and I mean, when you're talking about outside of the foot elastico, splitting the defense, giving you that extra spark, that moment of ingenuity, something special inside the box. This is where we talk about Anders, and this is why we keep building him up as a player, but having that partnership with Umid is so important, so they have that structure, they have the fundamentals or the foundation, and then let him work when he gets around the box.
They're in real trouble now, aren't they? I mean, that save from Courtois that preceded the corner that led to the goal, it felt like a lifeline, it felt like an opportunity for them to go. And that's where you've really just got to control your emotions, concentrate and make sure you don't concede. Because you start to wonder, Mike, is this scoreline going to be too hard to come back from? We're talking about a team in TGNIP that hadn't conceded a goal in the knockouts. They've just conceded 3 in just over one half of FIFA.
And the concern is, kind of like you said, they hadn't conceded a goal. So defensively they've been sound, but more so offensively, they haven't been very impressive. If you go through the group stage, they don't have a bunch of outbursts. You go through the knockout stage, it's a similar story. These guys are not high-octane goal scorers or creators in terms of the opportunities that they're presenting. We commentated yesterday. It was a 1-0 win over 2 legs of FIFA.
Yeah, it was narrow, and they're going to need a lot more than 1 goal to get through this one now. It's beginning to look like a bridge too far, but still time, of course, if they get the next goal.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't forget, there is a second leg to follow this one, so lots of time to play here, but also lots of times to let goals in. They've got to be careful. We were talking about how good TGNIP's defence has been. It's just been utterly decimated so far with those 3 goals, and once again, working it down that right wing has been the favourite of RB Leipzig. Something, obviously, Footwears watching to see who they're going to be facing in the final. We'll be watching this matchup, forget replays, look at exactly how they're playing, how they're doing it against such a strong defensive team that they themselves have faced already. Now, see how they can work this one through. This is a build-up, NIP. Is it going to be a slow, methodical build-up? You've got to just take your time. This is almost reset your mindset. Try and think in your head, is it 0-0? I can just play my own style. I've got time. You don't need to panic yet.
But the problem is, for Team Hullet, not only have they got to be so good to score, 3 or more goals now, RB Leipzig have got to kind of fall apart because they haven't got to score more. They're more than good enough just to control this game out and even concede 1 or 2. But the likelihood of them conceding 3 or 4 goals now, it would take something unbelievable from Team Hullet and something terrible from the boys from Leipzig.
Yeah, it would have to be a total collapse. Maybe we could see something here, though, as they do try and break down the right wing. Henry plays it back. Klusterman nicely into Ruud Hullet. Scored a lot of goals for them so far from a lot of the time. From what I remember throughout the groups and the knockouts, a lot of the goals actually came from headers in the box, rather than actually, I mean, open play still, but it was crosses into headers, and that's what's worked out well for them. They're not getting those chances right now.
You can see that approach play. I don't like it. It's too passive. It's too swinging it side to side. They're not whipping in a lot of crosses, and even more so when you're down multiple goals, you've got to be a little more direct. And you don't want a mistake when you're building up. I just don't love this overlapping approach that they're using down the wings. I don't think it's going to be the bread and butter for opportunities, but...
R9 plays it back, Henry. Can't get past the mighty defender that is Buffon.
I was going to say, they haven't made anything clear-cut. We're not talking about missed chances. We're not talking about big saves. We're not talking about hitting the post or an opportunity where they had the ball right on the edge. They just haven't got to those money locations on the virtual pitch.
It's also like RB Leipzig are happy for them to get to a certain area. They're happy for them to get to just approaching the final third, around about here. And once they get in that box, the tackle comes in. See, it's just like they're not trying to press them at that point once they get into their half. They just say, look, what have you got? You're going to have to do something special.
Oh, that's a dangerous one to lose. Just tapped it too hard.
And the biggest issue, or the bigger issue to me when they're getting into that final third, is it's always on the wing. It's always on the wing. And when you're central, you have more options. You have more versatility. You have more room to introduce something a little bit unique, a little more different. You keep your opponent guessing.
I think as well, when you start to get so comfortable in a certain style of attack, you start to miss opportunities. There was an opportunity for Team Hullet to play a ball for the middle earlier. Speaking of which...
Gone to R9.
Still
Green
alive.
finished as well, still alive. This time Umut takes control and he puts in the 4th. And that may be just too far.
Is that it? is that it? Can you see RB Leipzig collapsing to the degree that would be required for TGNIP to win this one? I don't know if I can, Mike.
Well, when I saw them pause earlier on, when it was 2-0, I started thinking to myself, surely we're going to start seeing some tactical adjustments. We're not going to see this wing play swinging it side to side, very patient, very methodical, very structured with the build-up. We're going to need a little more of a counter press. We got to change something. And then it added the third goal. I thought the same thing. It didn't happen. Now you're down 4. You start questioning, is there even enough time? If you are to go for it, is there actually enough time to create some sort of collapse?
I think at this point, it's like you've got to go for it to the extent that you maybe are prepared to lose 10-0.
Correct.
Because a loss is a loss at this stage. They're still going to be taking home $75,000 if they exit the tournament at this stage. But I don't know. Listen, if they do it, it will probably be the biggest comeback in the history of at least recent FIFA esports. Certainly the E-Club World Cup that I can remember.
I mean, right now, I feel that you're talking about pride. Honestly, nobody wants to go out to a massive scoreline in a semi-final. And you look at the heart rates, both of them just hovering around that 100 mark. You obviously look to the last game, they were pumped up there. Is it maybe just Team Hullet almost accepting defeat right now? I hope it's not, because there is still another matchup to go here in 15 minutes in this game. There's a long way to go, but they are 4 down, and that is a really tough task.
And to Spencer's point, though, to overturn this, you're going to throw all the bodies forward. So you have to risk this getting very ugly as a scoreline, or you can lose and maybe it stays a little bit closer, but a loss is a loss.
Well, now's the time to do it in the latter stages of the first leg, because they can, really go into those stamina supplies and then get that reloaded for the second leg. So this is the time to really press, hopefully get 1 goal and it's still alive. If we're being really optimistic, I would say that as long as it's 4-0, if Team Hullet can get a goal before maybe the 15th, 20th minute of the second leg, they've got a chance. If they concede another, it's over, it's lights out for me.
Well, with just 10 minutes to go in this one, RB Leipzig are doing exactly what they need to frustrate their opponents, just keeping hold of that ball. You can't score if you don't have it. It's as simple as that. They are just keeping hold of possession. They even have an attacking chance maybe down that wing.
This is where they've got to press now. Throw everything at it. Get that goal, that glimmer of hope. Take it into the second leg. Everyone forward. Don't wait any longer. You're 4-0 down. Sure, if it was 2-0 or 3-0, maybe different, but at 4, you've got to go for it.
Looking for that opening chance, perhaps. Mbappe trying to work it through, but Klosterman's just so strong every time in defence. And it's Anderson's back there doing the work as well. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Both these two top talents playing so well together. We've talked to many Danish players talking about how hard it can sometimes be to play with Anders, because he's got that set style of play. But this team is gelling, it is working, and they are looking like world champions right now.
I think when he's in the mode he's in now, it's a case of really just letting him cook. Getting him the ball and letting him do what Anders does.
Get out of the way.
Exactly. Could be a fifth here.
And we talked a lot about the offensive struggles from TGNIP, but I think we should give a lot of credit to the defending from RB Leipzig.
Yes,
in these big moments that we talked about, they've been perfect. The tackle that's needed, the positioning, the double team, the team press, handling the moments when they overtake possession, the extra pass, the switch of the pitch, getting out of the back. They haven't had any big mistakes.
Absolutely, no big mistakes. Let's hear from the couch. These guys obviously have all been watching it. Obviously, Agger's on there for all people. He's the one person probably on everyone that has played with Anders Vergang. He's on fire right now.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. Halfway point. It is not looking good, is it, for RB Leipzig? Myself, Brandon Smith, August Rosemeyer, Alex B will give you the thoughts of what we've just seen there. I think the first question I throw to you, Agger, game over?
Yeah, it's definitely looking hard for Team Hullet to get back into this match. I mean, when you're playing against Anders and he's starting to find himself, it's almost impossible to play against him. He's unplayable.
How would you break this performance down, Alex? Because it was just one-way traffic. 2 goals before half-time certainly did not help TGNIP.
One-way traffic indeed. We just saw from Umit and Anders, they were so confident in that attacking third, just to take their defenders on every time. The first goal specifically, the third goal we see there, both Levy and Oleito wanted to come and step up and try and get into R9 to make that tackle. The reverse elastico, though, comes through from Anders. That is one of the reasons why he's such a fantastic FIFA player. This time round, Mbappe just chasing through, takes that shot. 4-0 Brandon. We know how good Levy and Oleito are. I think it may just be too much.
I was just about to add on to that as well. Anders looked like he was scoring every goal there. I mean, it did add one to the pile, but it seems like that's how the partnership goes, as the guy saying on the commentary desk, Skagger. Give Anders Vergang the ball and let him cook around the box.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny in the same way because it's the world champion he's playing with. I mean, it's two of the best, if not the two best players in the world playing together. And I mean, also when we're looking at the goals, it can be very overwhelming to play against Anders. Like, you can get caught in the motion, and that's why some of the goals looks very simple, but it's just really not. It just makes them look simple because he's so good.
And how do you motivate yourself, for this second leg if you're on that side of the screen? We cannot forget EA Sports Cup champions. They've had their back against the wall in many knockout matches, but maybe not like this, 4-0 down with a leg to play.
We're taking it one step at a time. If you look at that mountain and say we've got a 4-goal deficit that we have to come back, you can get a bit overwhelmed in that moment. Right now, Renzo will just be saying to him, let's just get that first goal. We make it 4-1, we build on a goal at a time, and then you can grow with confidence. If you look at it with that way of 4-0, you're just not going to do it.
No, it's going to be a mountain to climb. However, that's our thoughts from at the halfway point here. For now, it's back over to you guys on the casting desk, for the second leg.
Yeah, thank you very much, Brandon and guys. I mean, where do you go from here? 4-0 down, second half. I mean, we can talk up Coach Renzo for all we like, but, you know, what do you say at this point? Your team's been blown away.
Well, first off, you're going to have some tactical adjustments, but you also want to make sure that it's not done. You got to crawl before you walk before you run. Kind of as what Spencer was stressing, if you get a goal in the first 20, maybe you get a second one by halftime. You're there. It's almost like a goal every 20 so minutes, and you can get yourself into a position to maybe push extra time. Now, a lot of things have to go your way. You're going to need mistakes. You're going to need errors. You're going to need absolute perfect play from everybody on the comeback squad or the comeback team in terms of finishing, being clinical, you name it. But it's not impossible. We've seen things like this happen in FIFA esports, but we have not seen anything happen on the E-Club stage to this degree.
I think what the coach's most important job at this point is just making them believe. Making sure their body language and their motivation doesn't drop to the point where it is over. Because that's the, 4-0 isn't over. I know the likelihood is that it's going to be too much. But we have seen, as Mike mentioned, some epic comebacks. Remember Ryan Pessoa came back from 5-0 down back in the day. You know, it can happen. 2v2, maybe it's a little bit more difficult. You need both of you to be on song while the other two are both, off of it. But listen, crazier things have happened at sea.
I remember I think it was the first Club World Cup we had, Marcusa came back from, I think, 3-1 down when we had the cross-console finals back then, a long time back. Obviously against Dasari in the finals, that was on his opposition console. So comebacks happen in the finals, the semi-finals. Having it 4, I got to be honest, from what I saw in that first game, I'm struggling to see it.
Of course, the odds are against them. It's going to be a real uphill battle, and maybe by half-time we could say it's over. But if they can approach this game with the right mentality, the problem is, though, it's not just a case of them being great. They're up against two of the best FIFA players in the world. They have to be bad, because it's one thing saying, can we win this game or not? For them to give up 4 goals would be such a collapse. I almost feel like the only way it's even possible is if it's more of a mental collapse than an ability collapse, where the pressure just gets to them. And I don't see it happening. Not with a man who's won the World Cup on a very similar stage to this last year, and a man who's got the world at his feet.
I think the biggest challenge, and we're not addressing it, is for this to work out, you can't concede any goals. And
exactly.
RB Leipzig scores for fun. I think that's actually the bigger challenge. Let's say they make a bunch of defensive errors, you start getting goals. How do you stop them from generating? How do you stop Anders right now? He's feeling himself.
I think what's so impressive about the way they attack is the fluidity. It looks like it's one player playing. And even if it is Anders scoring the majority of the goal, don't take away from the role Umert's playing. Even if it's just as a provider, he's still got to play certain passes at certain times to certain places, and to allow Anders to do what he does so well. When you compare that to the way that TG and IP have been attacking, it's been a little bit slower. It's been looking for maybe a little bit more individual magic to beat a player, where these guys are just passing triangles through the defense.
You're just trying to make it too perfect. It doesn't need to be that way. Get it into the mix and start working it out.
Can often be the case as players who do look for that perfect chance, right, rather than just taking chances, try and go for those green time shots, maybe something unorthodox. I talked about crosses. That was really on there. I was looking at Hullet in the box and I was thinking, are we going to see a swinger? That's what they may be looking for, something along them lines, but instead he's just tried to work it a little too hard, and now Leipzig on the counter themselves. Rashford can play it forward. It's actually found its way to R9 as well. It's got players arriving. Maybe try and work it back. Not going to happen. TGNP just 5 minutes into this one. They've got to get a shot in anger, I feel. That's a good crossfield ball. Should be able to get there first, maybe to get the opener. It could turn things around, but the cross back not going to happen, and Leipzig will clear.
I liked that approach a lot. Something a little bit different. It was a bit of a Trent Alexander-Arnold of a hopeful ball, but the vision was there until that last moment. I think they just rushed it with Ronaldo on the byline. You look at your chances of getting that cross in, you just slow things down and try again.
Giving away in a dangerous spot, perhaps. Gets into Henry, but he's just... First touch was not there. And in the end, Leipzig, look at this. They're just happy to slow things down.
And another reason that TGNIP needs to get a goal early, and a couple goals early ideally, is because they're pressing high up with the back line, their players are going to get tired quicker. So this press won't last for 90 minutes. You need your opposition to feel some of the pressure or to start being a little bit nervous, maybe dealing with some mentality issues, assuming that a comeback is on the cards.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, at the end of the day, they're going to leave so many gaps, and the longer the game goes, even if they get 2, 3 back, RB Leipzig just need that one to finish the job off. Yeah. They won't have the energy to get back in it. So it's a very risky strategy, but it's pretty much the only strategy they've got at this point. I think they're doing the right thing in trying it, but like you say, if they don't get the goal soon, it might be too late.
Well, they have to defend first. That one cuts out. Oh my God, R9 wins it in the box. Oh, off the line. Wow. Militao with a last-ditch clearance. Big danger signs there already, though. As R9 was almost gifted, it's not done yet. Rashford gets it back, and Mbappe just manages to win it out. He's put it over.
Is there a little bit of luck falling for the TGNIP guys just when they need it? One thing you've got to say is, when it comes to the last line of defence, RB Leipzig have been so much more solid. They're actually on a little bit of borrowed time there. They could have easily conceded a couple of goals there, TGNIP. Yeah. But when they get up the other end, that last tackle is always there when Leipzig need it.
Well, they absolutely need it right now. At the moment, though, let's see. Theo working it through. Again, a big switch of play. This is what I like, trying to stretch the game a little bit more. See if they can open things up. But that was a really hopeful pass, honestly, through the middle to see if they can get that direct ball. Maybe they're just trying to go for those more direct passes. You're always going to get them intercepted. And this is the problem with Leipzig. You looked at the stats. Throughout this tournament, 80% pass completion. Throughout the entire tournament, incredible stuff. So it's a team that doesn't even give the ball away much and can score goals for fun. And honestly, they've stepped it up even more from the group stage. As they reached, you know, we looked at that Bromby game, they were 3-1 down. It is possible to take the lead against them, but you've got to be absolutely on it. And right now, TGNIP, they're struggling to get the ball.
This is where you lean on someone like Umit. We talk about Anders so much. Umit has the experience, and he's a master at game management, positioning, resurfacing, recycling.
What a pass that was, by the way.
Yeah. Being able to organize and structure a team. He knows when to step, knows when to sit back, and he's done it before. He's had so much success in the last 2 or 3 years. I even was saying after he won the world title, I'm not sure that he's done winning. And this is more credit to that.
And it would be amazing, wouldn't it, considering he hasn't qualified for the World Cup this year, to go back-to-back with huge major wins, albeit in different competitions. It would be, well, it would put him seriously in the conversation of the greatest of all time, personally.
Yeah, I mean, talking of greatest of all time, obviously it's the player alongside him, playing in every single competition here, has a real chance to make a statement, and the confidence is there. We'll see, obviously, how it goes in the E-Nations that will follow this, and then, of course, the E-World Cup will follow that. Lots of FIFA action to go here over the next 2 weeks, but at the moment, 30 minutes constant a goal.
And again, to talk about what Spencer's bringing up is potentially being in that conversation. Umit's only 20 years old.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
So you talk about the text, the MS Desari.
He's the veteran.
Even the August Rosemeyer or the Bruce Grant, if you want to throw back some years, the Ramos, who's won multiple of the FIFAe World Cups, FIFA Interactive World Cups at those times. These guys aren't competing anymore, some of them. Or more than half of them. So they can't win any more titles or trophies. They can't add to the collection. They can't add to the silverware. And then you could argue with the likes of a Tex or an MS Desari who's not in action here. We won't see him in the FIFAe World Cup. We're not seeing him in the E-Club. We will see him in the E-Nations, but it limits maybe where he's going to go. How many more titles is he going to be able to add into his own personal journey. And then we start arguing with Umit, well, what's he winning in Germany? Yeah, he's got the virtual Bundesliga. We just seen that happen. We've seen him now been able to travel to a bunch of different internationals. We've seen him have success in ECL. Didn't win an ECL, but he's right there. He's knocking on the door. He already has the FIFAe World Cup, which is the hardest, I would say. If you ask any competitor one trophy, if you could only get the one, it's got to be the FIFAe World Cup at the end of the year. Best individual player, unanimous. You can't debate it. You can't take it away from him. Like him, hate him, fall somewhere in between. It doesn't matter. That trophy stays with the individual. That claim stays with the individual.
Yeah, I mean, obviously victory here and whatever else he could pull out here definitely puts him up there with the likes of Nicholas as well. But there's still a few more games to go. That big chance still actually did go out for a corner.
This is really similar to how they conceded one of their goals. Exactly similar save from Courtois from a corner. Luckily this time they defended it, because that would have been a disaster for TGNIP if they were to concede there and at any point in the game now.
I just feel that, you know, when you look at some of the teams, the counter-attacking play is just lacking at the moment. You know, they're the chances where you've got to really try and stretch the game. We're closing in on the halfway mark. We're still yet to see a goal, you know, when they're chasing 4. It's a bit heartbreaking for them, honestly.
Leipzig are able to play with such freedom right now, because they don't have any pressure on them in this individual game. They can just try things, and you know, it does actually make you better in a way, I think, whereas you look at it on the other side of the coin, TGNIP are going to be rushed, they're going to feel pressured, they're going to be really overthinking it at times, and you're seeing these little tiny mistakes in their game that lose them the ball way quicker than RB Leipzig. I mean, when they get the ball, they're holding on to it for a good 5-10 minutes of FIFA time minimum.
I've been more impressed with the defensive play actually from RB Leipzig than even the offense. I know we talked about the 4-0, but the way that they have handled between the two of them with really cutting TGNIP out of any clear-cut opportunities. We're not seeing breakthroughs. And it's kind of frightening, a little bit terrifying as they move into this final, assuming that they're going to see this out or close it out. If your foot was watching this, we talk about the offense, but these guys aren't conceding any goals. They're not giving up any chances.
Look at the amount of bodies that they've got
here,
back. There's only a handful of opportunities.
They have to take it. They have to take this chance, and well, if anything, the player got in the way. Makes a turn. Oh, and instantly blocked, and that's what you're talking about. Every time they get those clear chance, it's blocked out. They have defended very well.
And that's credit to them, because it's not just a case of, you know, pressing tackle at the right time. It's having those defenders in the right positions, being able to read where is he going to pass it next, or, you know, assessing a number of different options that are open to them at any one time. But every time they get it right.
They're not nervous. They're feeling cozy. They're comfortable, because you have to manually make a lot of those steps. Not only the player movement, but the actual tackle, that actual animation.
That heart rate's getting high.
It's on the up and up.
Levy's finally feeling it. 120. But I mean, let's not take anything away from them. Semi-final is a fantastic result, but they've had top 4 before here. They want more. They want more.
And to what Alito said, in the last couple of years, this is one of the most successful duos that we've seen. Easily. Between winning the EA Sports Cup, being here back-to-back years, them working together, them having a lot of success online and offline as a group. I don't want to discredit them in any way. We're just dealing with such a perfect performance thus far from RB Leipzig.
It really has been, in every way imaginable. You know, they haven't had to attack in the same way they did it in the first leg, because they've got that margin of victory ahead of them. They're just keeping the ball, and they're doing it so well. And what's impressing me most is we're seeing areas of possession completely in the TGNIP half, and yet they can't get the ball back. They've got, you know, less space. They should be able to close that space to get the ball, but they're keeping it so well. And as Mike said earlier, they're going to get more and more tired, these TGNIP players, to the point where they've got nothing left in the tank.
And surely you have to trigger constant pressure. I don't think you can wait. You're down 4 goals. You need goals constantly. You need them all the time, not to be a play on words, but you've got to press.
Is it a case that they know the minute they trigger constant pressure, RB Leipzig are so good at going forward, they're going to get the fifth?
You can't play scared.
I mean,
you're already down 4 goals at that point. It's too late to start thinking like that.
But you don't blame them if they were scared, based on what they did to them in the first game.
I would argue in that first leg that they didn't play with enough pressure. Not saying they should have been on constant pressure, but we didn't see team pressing. We didn't see the offside trap. We didn't see a lot of the double teams or the micromanagement on the defensive end. They were a little more passive, and then we saw Leipzig take advantage of that. They converted their opportunities, and now you got to play from behind.
Through ball. Oh,
no. Do that.
You can't do that. R9, little cheeky ball. Comes back. Henry. Oh, misplayed pass. And I think if they weren't 4-0 up, they maybe would have played that one a little bit different, trying to have a little bit of fun with it, but still.
literally
NIP have got to go here. They've got to go for it.
This half started, Leipzig had the ball the entire time. They made one mistake, and one touch later they had the ball back. That is just criminal from the TGNIP guys. They have to look after the ball when they get it. Sure, go forward. You don't have to play it around the back, but you've got to look after it. Great hit there.
Green timed, went for it. Corner for TGNIP. They're going to try and work something. No, they're just going to go short once again. R9 plays it across. Pull it. Maybe looking to try and take a shot. It maybe fell kindly. It's Militao of all people in the box. Now he finds Pogba.
There it
and
is.
They do at last get themselves a goal. TGNIP. It's a long way to go and a short time to get there. But can they do it?
And what a sequence. And again, to beat Leipzig, you have to do everything right. You had the block, which bounced favorably. Then you still had a lot of left stick dribbling there from Militao of all people. You had a cancellation of the fake shot, the extra pass. I thought they were going to shoot. You still had an elastico before the shot, and you had to beat the goalkeeper movement. There's a lot happening on that screen.
Listen, if you're going to be the champions at this level, the FIFAe World Cup, Club World Cup, sorry, you have to beat the best. But these guys have created an obstacle for themselves. That would mean if they did it now, they really had overcome every single odds. To score goals of that quality 3 more times is almost unthinkable, but it is possible. It's not impossible, and while there's a glimmer of hope, that's where Coach Renzo can earn his money. Get the motivation and belief into these players. They're running out of time, but another goal in the next few minutes would start to turn some heads.
And ironically, I'm just going to date this back again, EA Sports Cup, it was actually Leipzig was losing against Footwears, and in the second half of a single leg affair, they were able to generate 3 goals. So it is possible. We've seen it happen this year. And the irony is that could be the match that we're previewing, but you've got to start going for it now. I'm sure they're having that conversation. Do we go constant pressure? Do we throw everyone forward? There's 55 minutes into the second half of the second leg. How far do you want to commit?
I mean, the scoreline wasn't as big, but we saw Leipzig have a comeback of their own in the game prior to this. You know, they were 2-0 down, they were 3-1 down.
They scored
even.
2 goals in 5 minutes of game time.
It can be done if you have a big push. If they start to get nervous, which I don't think they are yet, I think they need to concede at least 1 more before they get on the sort of nervous energy. Right now, they still look composed, and they're going to wind this clock down, keeping the ball.
Yeah, it was a mistake that led to it. Obviously, the green, it was, if all things, it was a green time finish from way outside the box that led to the corner that led to it. It was just a chance, just took that chance. TGNIP have got to be looking to do the same here again. It was Pogba, the man that got things running before for them. Hugo Lloris in the midfield now to Hull it, puts it across. Let's see where they can work this one down the box. Pogba's found himself a bit of space, and this is maybe a chance building here for TGNIP. What can they do? Where can they go with it? The ball's loose. Bad first touch coming out. Who'd have thought using Hugo Lloris, but that's actually a gift from the gods. Ronaldo, deflected for a corner.
Could have gone anywhere, that one. It could have just gone over the keeper as he'd gone in the wrong direction. The deflection didn't quite help them out, but they are getting opportunities now.
Another, maybe one ball there, but it's Alphonso Davies in the end for Leipzig to clear it, and you can see just the calm head cuts in from Uma, just plays the ball out wide and just calms things down.
I don't want to be the hindsight guy, but I just wish that we would have seen this offensive movement and commitment in that first leg.
Maybe that was the game plan. Even at 4-0 down, maybe they just said, look, we have to attack late. We can't attack early against these guys because it could become a cricket score.
They're definitely going for those harder direct passes. TGNIP here, but is it a little too late? Oh, it may well be. Oh, no.
There it is.
Football's through, cut out. Great defensive work from TGNIP. We know they can do it, but they've only got 20 in-game minutes now to get 3 goals.
That's the first time we've really seen a last-ditch, unbelievable tackle from TGNIP, whereas RB Leipzig have been doing it for both legs almost on every occasion, bar one. Can they get the second here?
Much quicker passing here from TGNIP. They're trying to work it through. Henry maybe to Hull it. Looking to that final pass, and it was always going to get blocked off. But now you can see, just running the clock down, a couple of step overs in your own half. Why not? R9 actually gets lucky with the pass back, returns it. Ronaldinho, what can he do? Can he work it through? Uma tries to work it in the box and just runs the clock down. Oh, it's just causing all many problems for them.
That's smart play. That's experienced play.
How late could this second goal be, realistically, Mike? Like, what's the latest?
I think we've missed it. I think it needs to be on that last attack, just because I'm looking at the counter press, and it's going to take you, typically, even if you get a really good press, maybe 5 minutes of game time, and we're just running out of time. Like I said, my biggest critique is not necessarily the pressure play, which I know has a lot of high risk in terms of giving up opportunities to Leipzig, but offensively very slow with the buildup. If you recall, that first leg, very slow from NIP, or TG NIP. Very predictable. We knew where the pass was going to go 2 passes before. They were lacking some of that creativity.
They're going for it, but is it too late? 4-2-4, switch coming in from TG NIP. And I mean, this is the risk you take, obviously, at this stage. It doesn't matter whether you lose 5, 6, 7. You know, it's about chasing that game. Like, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what the score is. You either win it or lose it.
Was it a case of them respecting their opposition too much, maybe, and not bringing the game to them enough?
It felt that way. It was a little more like you're putting your opposition on a pedestal. That's how I felt watching it. And these guys have the ability. It's not as if they're not able to play faster offensively. They're not able to take some of those risky passes or some of the cancellations, the skills that we're seeing. They have those capabilities, and it's natural. It's not like you're forcing it, so I would have liked to see a different offensive approach.
That was maybe the best chance they had there. A quick turnover from the frick to the corner and going up the other end, but it was a free kick. They get it back again, though. Right, it has to be now, really, doesn't it? If they can make something happen on this attack and make it a 2-goal deficit, there could be a chance.
Got to be fast passing, fast movement, fast everything, because the clock is ticking. The switch to play, you can see the run already coming in, the overlaps there. They do manage to find it, but it's Klosterman in the end that cuts in. Ball given away. Maybe a little bit of luck. No, not going to come from the header. And now actually may well go straight up the other end. You can see just holding up Uman, waiting for Anders Vergang to just get back on side and just keep in possession of the ball. I think maybe a little talk between the two. Will they go for a goal? Oh, there's so much space.
Oh, I thought
he is just off.
Well, yeah, those gaps are going to open up now. They've got no choice but to play the offside trap and push everyone forward. So don't be surprised if you see more goals from RB Leipzig in this game. This isn't a true reflection of a normal TGNIP strategy right now. It's all-out attack as it needs to be.
Yeah, 4-2-4, overload that defence, see what you can do. That pass not going to work. And, well, unfortunately, that seems to be the story of the game. The ball being overturned once again and work down those wings. The wing play from RB Leipzig has been absolutely impeccable so far. Chance for a counter now. Mbappe, oh, when that pass doesn't work, you know, it's not going your way. It's Pogba, the cheeky chip maybe, the step, and that will be number 5. Job done for RB Leipzig. They will be booking themselves a place in the finals to face Footwears.
Listen, it's a very deserved victory from RB Leipzig. They've been sensational, they really have, and every single question that's been asked of them has been answered. But I know when you look back at this from a TGNIP angle, as much as you can give credit to the attacking and defensive work of RB Leipzig, there is probably 10+ moments in these 2 legs where they've given the ball away with bad decisions or made a mistake that is definitely what we class as an unforced error. And that will be what hurts them the most.
Last-ditch chance for TGNIP to try and get a bit of pride on the line. You saw what it meant to Levy there. Not happy with the situation. Top 4 once again for TGNIP, it seems, as we see a bit of class. I think Anders maybe going for a little bit of a style finish there. Not quite working out for him. The clock is not with them. 5-1 at the scoreline. Will it be 6? Maybe. Umut puts it over, couldn't green time it. It doesn't matter. It's all over here, ladies and gentlemen.
We sort of built that early storyline with the battle of the coaches as well. And this one, from a tactical approach play, has to go to Daniel and RB Leipzig. They set the tempo, they set the tone, and allowed them to dictate how they wanted to play that second leg.
Massive victory, and is their name on the trophy? That's what a lot of people are thinking. You know, once again, the higher ranked team has won that one, meaning 10 of 14 knockout games have been won by the higher ranked team. So I do think these rankings deserve a little bit more credit at times. But listen, these two, on paper, they look good. In real life, they look good. There's a reason they were the favourites, and they're just delivering on the pressure that was on them from day one.
Absolutely, it has been. Well, what was the number 1 team touted? I think everybody had them down as favourites coming into this tournament, and they've lived up to the height. They've carried that expectation. Sometimes it can get too much to you at this situation against such experienced players. Unfortunately for TGNIP, Levy, David and Olivito on the screen there. It's just one step too far again. They're going to be disappointed, but at the end of the day, that's 2 Club World Cups back-to-back. They've been top 4. You know, they're clearly very experienced players. Let's get over to the stage with Leipzig and Richard Buckley.
Thank you very much, guys, on the commentary position. What a performance, what a win. Anders, I'll start with you first. Before we analyse the performance, do you have some words to say to these fans? Because they've been big on you two throughout this week.
For sure they have. I'm so happy they support us every single match. Without them, I don't think we would have come back against Brøndby, so it means everything for the team, and I hope they will push us the last in the final as well.
Let's have a look at this performance, because it was a first leg, really. The game was pretty much over, it's got to be said, after the first leg. Was that something going into the game that you thought we can flash these goals in, we can blitz these in the first leg and finish it before the second, or was it just how the game unfolded?
We was really happy that we got a 4-goal lead after the first match, and like we talked before the second, that we should just we should not play too slow, because then they will score and get a lot of attacks, but we should just play controlled, and then we are gonna win the match for sure.
And how does it feel for you in a grand final of a FIFAe major? I mean, 18 months ago you weren't able to compete, and now you've made it to a grand final. You still got a game in front of you, but what's it like?
It only means something if we're gonna win the final.
Well, there you go. Umar, I'm gonna step round over here. You still world champion for the next 8 or 9 days. Was there an extra incentive to get to the grand final of this tournament, knowing that you can't defend your E-World Cup?
Of course, I was really sad after I was not qualified for the World Cup, so I was just concentrating for this tournament. I think we prepared really good for this tournament, and of course we wanted to win it.
And what were the preparation like going up against Team Hullet Ninja in Pyjamas? You knew what to expect from them. How did you see the game sort of playing out?
Yeah, we know that they play a little bit slow, just 5 at the back. They're really good in defense, so it was really important to not concede early. And we did it. We didn't concede any goal in the first match, and we knew when we're playing our good game, we just can score on every attack. So I think also in the first match we scored almost in every attack. So we just played really good in the first match, and in the second we played a little bit slower, like Anders said.
Final words. You've got Team Footwears in the grand final. Anything you want to say to Team Footwears ahead of the grand final? What are you expecting from that game?
Yeah, they're in the final. Of course, they are really good, and of course, they also have the momentum on their side. I think they won 2 penalty shoutouts. They won 1 in overtime. So I think they can't be mentally stronger. So we will just see how the match is going.
Well, very best of luck, guys, in the final. I'm going to head on over and speak to Team Hullet Ninjas in Pyjamas. Obviously, a devastating defeat at this moment. Ollie, just a very quick word from yourself. Wasn't meant to be in the end. It's been a great season for yourself and this team. Reflection on the semi-final. Where did it go wrong? Just that first leg, it just ran away from you?
Yeah, I mean, I think they were overall better, so they deserved the win. 2 good goals from them the first half, and then 2 goals that I don't think we can do a lot about. And 4-0 first leg. Chasing, especially in 2v2 against a 5-back is pretty hard, right? So I think they played it out well, but yeah, they were just better today.
Let's look on the positive. It's been a great season. You've unfortunately felt the semi-finals of a FIFAe major in the Club World Cup. You won the EA Sports Cup. There has been positives for you, and it's not the end of the season as well for yourself. What's it been like this year?
It's been fantastic. It's a big pleasure for me to play with Levi, have Renzo as a coach as well, and I think we're a great team. As I said to you yesterday after the quarterfinal, I think we're one of the most consistent teams, so I'm proud of what we've done this year. Feels unfortunately not good now, but I just wish Leipzig best of luck in the final, and thank you to everyone that's been supporting.
Yeah, it's been a great journey for Team Hullet Ninjas in Pyjamas. 24 came, 2 remain. Team Footwears and RB Leipzig. Back into the studio to break it all down.
Thanks, Rich. Yeah, let's just talk about what we witnessed there here on the couch. We know how good Team Hullet Ninjas in Pyjamas are, Aggie. They were very much outclassed today, weren't they?
Yeah, Red Bull Leipzig just hit a level that was too good, and you can't give them such a good start in the first leg. They will just punish you, and they'll just seal out the game, and a massive boost for them coming into the final.
Alex, on any other day, are they that far apart in terms of teams? I don't think we expected it to be that one-sided going into this one.
I don't think we expected it, quote unquote, because we know how good Team Hullet and Ninjas in Pyjamas are. However, throughout this tournament, RB Leipzig have just looked arguably the best team regardless. Like, we look across at all the other teams and you think, is there anyone that can compete with them? I thought before, maybe if there is anyone that's going to beat them in this sort of semi-final, it would be Team Hullet and Ninjas in Pyjamas. They've just been unstoppable though. And for Team Footwears that they've got in the final, it's a big ask.
Yeah, I mean, Brandon, they only came unstuck. Well, they lost, didn't they, to Ajax in the group of death. And even, we were all talking that up, weren't we, on the couch, the group of death, they even managed to top that, 23 points. Even in the groups, we were saying the groups don't matter, but they set their stall out from the beginning, didn't they, Team RB Leipzig?
Absolutely. I think the record for FIFAe Club World Cup points was last year, 28 in total. So to get 23 in the group of death just shows how good of a team this is. And for them, I feel like there's a bit of unfinished business there. They didn't win the EA Sports Cup this year, which is our other 2v2 major tournament. They won the virtual Bundesliga Club Championship as a 2. And for Umit, not the World Cup this year, but in a 2v2 environment, it's the next best thing, and they're one game away from it.
We possibly questioned them, didn't we, earlier on in the season when they didn't win that EA Sports Cup. We kind of said, oh, maybe they aren't gelling really as a team, and they're not particularly the bestest of friends, and we always speak about Team Hullet Ninjas in Pyjamas as having that advantage, don't we, of being such great friends both off the pitch and on the virtual pitch. Why then, Alex, do they work so well, even if they don't have the best of chemistry? Not saying they have bad chemistry, of course.
Because you've got two of the probably the best FIFA players in the world right now. Emre Yilmaz, if you could put him into that mix, obviously. We said it yesterday when we were on commentary. They were 3-1 down and we were saying, oh, they don't look like they're bothered. They weren't having conversations with each other in that booth. It doesn't matter. When you've got Umit and Anders together, they don't need to talk to one another. Just get the ball to one another, play your game, and they will go out there and they can beat pretty much any duo.
Well, should we see those 4 goals then? Because they played their game perfectly in that first leg, and it was pretty much done and dusted, wasn't it, Aggie?
Yeah, it started out really well, just applying the pressure. As we can see here, R9 just green time finish. And then they were just pushing on, and also the timing of this goal, just getting a second one just before the half. I think that this goal was a great demonstration of how overwhelming it can be playing against Anders and Umut when they're pacing off the game. And I think this one was a goal, one of the goals that Ole was speaking about being a bit unfortunate. But it's just what happens when you're playing against such an aggressive and offensive strong team as Anders and Umut. And I mean, that was the deadlock the first game there.
And you heard, didn't you, from Onolito there, he just said as well, you know, we knew 4 was a tough ask. Mentally, you just look at that, and I don't know, guys, have you witnessed a bigger comeback than that when they can turn down a 4-goal deficit?
I think it's just different, isn't it? When you ask that question in a group game compared to what, a semi-final, $150,000 on the line, it's just such a big ask. And I think mentally you're asking, yeah, it's just too much from it. I think the one thing we have to look about with RB Leipzig, if there's a game that they saved for the right time, it was that one. Because there was moments where they haven't been great this tournament. Yes, they topped the group still, but at times there was a question mark over them. Because when it doesn't go right for RB Leipzig and they concede goals, they don't talk to each other, these two, regardless. No. Even when they're winning, they don't talk to each other. So what a performance. No doubt their best so far. 1 game away from a World Championship.
Yeah, well, of course, let's just focus a little bit more then on Team Hullet Ninjas in Pyjamas. You know, they made a couple of mistakes. They did obviously get that consolation goal, didn't they, in that second leg, which we kind of thought was a little bit too late.
Yeah, I mean, I know Lee, Spen and Mike were trying to build up the comeback, and we tried to be as optimistic as we could be. But Alex, what, 58 minutes in the game and you're scoring your first goal? It's just too late.
Lots of mistakes as well, Alex, aren't there?
Yeah, and when you have those chances, these are the sort of moments where if you're going to claw back on that deficit and give yourself that chance, you just need to get that little bit of luck on your side to be able to find through, get those opportunities, giving the ball away in that scenario where you could go back to your goalkeeper instead. And every time you do that, you're giving 5 or 10 minutes back to Anders and Umit to just have the ball and for them to play the game that they want. We see that green time, Travella coming through from Hullet, goalkeeper equal to it. A big press as well, obviously, as they applied that pressure into that second leg. But again, the defence just stood strong every single time from Umit and Anders. And it was just too much of a big task.
And this then was the last goal as well.
I think on that as well, we can say mistakes, but defensively, just players in the right place. Like, you know, you're playing with percentages. When you're pulling off a play, you're just hoping that they get a block off the leg, a block off the knee. You're playing on the percentage game, and RB Leipzig will play to every single percentage they can, and it worked in their favour.
Well, there we go. The final is here. We know our teams, don't we? Team Footwears, the British duo there. Then we've got RB Leipzig, the outfit from Germany. They are your two grand finalists. We are just over 10 minutes away from that one. But Spen, you're backstage. You're getting all the feels down there. Is it nervous? What does it feel like?
Well, it's very busy back here, Rachel, because you're probably thinking, how come? You know, there's only 2 teams left in the tournament. Well, there's more tournaments, guys. After one day off, tomorrow we're back with the FIFA E Nations. And behind me is a veritable who's who of international FIFA. If you keep an eye out, you'll see some big players from big countries all taking part in a couple of days' time. Let's see if we can talk to some of them. Got Australia there getting some practice in. Of course, Mark 11 who's qualified for all 3 events. He didn't win the first one, but Mark, how are you feeling about teaming up for Australia and maybe winning the E Nations?
I'm very excited. I think we've got a very good chance of winning it. We're either going to win it or get grouped, so that's one of them.
You've never been grouped?
I know, so hopefully we can win it all then.
There you go, it's win or group for Mark. If you come back here, it's one of the biggest names in FIFA history and current as well, big names. It's Nicholas from Argentina. Nicholas, good to see you. How are you feeling about the E Nations?
I'm feeling so good. It's so good to play another E Nations. The last time we lost some pens, and the first one we lost in the final. So I think this should be I think we deserve it as a nation. And yeah, I'm so happy to be here.
Especially shortly after Argentina won the World Cup in traditional football. What an amazing follow-up it would be to win the E Nations as well.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's like a motivation because finally, like, we made it. You know what I mean? And maybe we can replay the same here.
Have you had much of a chance to watch any of the E Club World Cup? We've got the guys from Footwears going up against the guys from RB Leipzig in the final. Who do you fancy?
Like, I don't care, but I think they both are really good teams. Footwears has like, not lucky, it's not the war, but they are winning by pens, last minute goal. I really like it, but you know, the Leipzig guy, they are on fire.
We shall see. Best of luck in a couple of days' time. If you keep looking around, you'll see more names as well. We've got Nicholas there, who's pretty much the Messi. Diogo, offer me some sweets. No, thank you. But the dust has settled a little bit, Diogo, from your exit from the FIFA E Club World Cup. We saw your tweet as well, perhaps moving on from Fnatic. How are you feeling a couple of days later?
Still very disappointed, obviously, but yeah, like I said, dust has settled. It's kind of like sunk in. I'm not happy at all. I'm very sad because our last tournament together, me and Tex and me with Fnatic, it was a failure, and we've never been grouped before, and it happened now. So, yeah, I mean, sad way to go out, but we have to look forward to next season.
I'm sure he'll be back, mate. He will bounce back, and there's even more names we didn't get a chance to talk to, but even MS Dasari is back there as well, getting practice in for, of course, his home country of Saudi Arabia. But there's still the matter of the FIFA E Club World Cup final to happen. It's just round the corner. Back to you guys.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. Well, Emma Sadari, actually, he came out here a little bit earlier and all the local people in the arena started cheering at him. But we heard from Nicholas there as well, the Iceman. He said RB Leipzig. And we're also announcing a poll as well on Twitch. Who do you think is going to win here tonight? Do you think it's Footwears or do you think it's RB Leipzig? At the moment, guys, 82% in favour of the boys from that German team there. So it is very much one-sided in your opinion. Let's have a look then, just to reaffirm that final here today at the FIFA E Club World Cup. There you have it. So Team Footwears earlier on, they beat Napoli Esports, and then Team Hullet, Ninjas in Pyjamas, you just saw that one, didn't you? They were outclassed by RB Leipzig, and your final then is set up. Team Footwears taking on RB Leipzig. We just heard it then from our audience, our fan. 82% guys think RB Leipzig. Lee, you're on the spot first. Who's going to win?
I got to say RB Leipzig after that performance in the semi-final. I'd love to see Footwears go on and do it, but RB Leipzig, they have the momentum. They were phenomenal in that
Brandon,
semi.
you'll sit on the fence, or will you not?
No, you know what? I think everyone on this couch is probably going to say RB Leipzig, so I'm going to say Team Footwears. They play tournament football. They've run through penalties in extra time. Team Footwears, don't let me down.
Aggie, I know you're going to say Leipzig because you had those in your predictions.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Leipzig. They've simply been too strong so far, and I think they'll replicate it in the final.
Alex, final word?
Well, it'd be boring if I didn't go 50-50, right? So I'll go Footwears with Brandon.
There we go. 2 Footwears, 2 Leipzig. And actually, Lee, you also said Leipzig as well. So 2 of us lot have got them as our winners. Right. The time is now, right? We're ready for our final here at the FIFA E Club World Cup. Who is going to prevail in the land of heroes? We're about to find out with Richard Buckley and Mike LaBelle.
Thank you ever so much, Rachel. Guys on the desk, incredible stuff. As always, didn't think this Joe would get a run out, Mike, but here we are.
Wow. And I'm going to tell you right now, I think that they were trying to keep that even. I know all the English are going for Footwears. You don't have to hide it. I know that you've been supporting Footwears through and through here. I will say this, Leipzig with one of the most dominant performances throughout any of the days. With 5-1, 4-0 in that first leg. They really didn't even need to come out. You didn't have the same energetic Anders when you did the interviews, because I think he had the whole second leg kind of to take his energy down a notch, regain that composure.
He were able to or sort of like disconnect from the game. Like, you see, I don't know if you noticed it on the broadcast, he starts clapping the goal. Like, yeah, that's, you did well there. Well done, fellas. It's 5-1 or 4-1. I don't care. I get the sense in this game that you've got Footwears who have scratched and clawed every single game. Penalty, last-minute winner, penalty. To get to this stage, they got through the group via a draw against Raptors. They maybe went into sort of a three-way tie playoff and all that sort of shenanigans. They weren't supposed to be in this grand final, but they are. RB Leipzig, before we'd even kicked off, were the favourite to win this tournament. It's a great story. It really, really is.
Footwears is making me think almost Star Wars-esque, where it's the Force is with them. When you're winning that many penalty kicks, you're doing your thing in extra time. You're getting the job done by any means necessary, but it's happening time and time again.
Yeah, I can't wait. I really can't to see how this game starts to unfold. Spencer Owen, you've got the job to bring them out.
Thank you, Richard. What a job it is as well. I cannot wait for this final. There's the trophy. In just one game's time, someone will be lifting it, and it's a $300,000 game. It doesn't get much bigger than this. Of course, to play this final, we need our two teams, so please join me in welcoming our first team for this final. It is, of course, Team Footwears Europe. Here they are then, Ethan and Nick Sneb together. What a journey it's been, as Richard was just talking about. An unpredictable route to the final. Serious character needed to come through. Extra time, penalties, being down in games, but they're here. They're in the $300,000 game. And arguably, is their toughest game yet in the final. Of course, going up against Team Footwears Europe is RB Leipzig Gaming. Touted as the favourites from minute one, and they're here in the final minute. The reigning FIFAe World Cup champion, along with the hottest name in FIFA right now, is Anders Vergang, ranked 4th in the world and playing some of the best FIFA competitive FIFA has ever seen right now. This is the final that we've all come for. Welcome to the stage, gentlemen. The crowd absolutely loving, of course, RB Leipzig here. I'm going to start with a question for the Footwears guys, though. The route you've taken has been unreal. How's the energy levels mentally after what you've been through so far?
You think that we're mentally gone, but honestly, with the break we've just had, we forgot about all the rest of the games. It's all focused on this one now, so now we're ready for it.
Do you think that break gives you a bit of an advantage because RB Leipzig basically just finished playing 5 minutes ago?
It could spin both ways. We've got a break to watch them, then they're just coming from a game, so they're pretty hot, so I think it goes both ways. It's fine.
Nick Sneb, like we said, it's been a hell of a route to the final, but do you believe that you're going to lift this trophy? Do you believe you guys are going to be winning it?
Of course, like, winning 2 penalties, winning 121st minute, don't happen for no reason, you know, so yeah, we're here for the trophy.
Is it their destiny? Is it meant to be? We'll find out very soon, but these guys are standing in their way. A fantastic semi-final, you're playing some unbelievable stuff. What's the secret to your guys' success?
Yeah, what's our secret is we can't say now. We can say it maybe after the final, but we just wanted to focus now on the final because we're playing against such a good team, and now everything is on zero, and this game counts.
Huge, huge game. Anders, where would this moment, if you were to win the $300,000 and lift the trophy, where would this moment rank in your competitive FIFA career so far?
For sure, like the biggest, like I mean, it's a World Cup. I really want to win, and I think like they've been really good. But like every 3 matches they won in knockout was like 2 penalties and 1 in 120. But like they know how to like they are really good. Like when it really matters, I respect them a lot. But I really hope we can win this match.
Lots of respect between the two teams. We've got to do the coin toss before the game gets underway. I've got head referee James with me here. Can you let us know who's the blue side and who's the green side of the coin, James?
Blue side is Team Footwears, green side is RB Leipzig.
Okay, please take it away to find out who will be the home team in the second leg. It is green, which means
RB Leipzig will kick off for the second game.
RB Leipzig will kick off the second game. You guys will kick off the first game. You can make your way to your booths, guys. Good luck in the final. You got the ranked 14th team in RB Leipzig going up against the 11th ranked team and the highest ranked team left in the competition, Team Footwears. But rankings are out the window now. It's all about who plays and rises to the occasion. I can't wait for this one. Richard and Mike, take it away.
Woo! Thank you very much, Spain. They are here on the main stage. RB Leipzig, Team Footwears. I mean, this is the moment that both of these sides have been fighting tooth and nail to get to. They've gone about it very different ways. However, we're here on the main stage, Mike.
I'm happy to be here. First final that I've had on the FIFA stage, and I got a lot to say from the interview session, actually.
Take it away. The floor's yours.
All right. First off, Spencer loves a percentage and a stat. So based on the rankings, Footwears has a 70% chance of winning this matchup and are actually the favorites because they come in at the higher ranked duo. So we're just throwing that out there. Just want to put that energy out there. That was the most calm that I saw Nick Sneb. Hands on the hip, answering question. A little bit surprised there. And also Anders saying that he respects his opposition. Yes. That's not normal. If you know Anders well, he's not disrespectful, but he's so confident in himself and the team that he's around. He'll kind of announce that this is going to be what it's going to be. Be ready for a show. Get your hands ready, get your applause ready. I'm about to put on for the culture. That's usually the Anders energy that we get pre-game, during the game, post-game.
And for people at home maybe thinking how this game might start to play out, both of these two sides have the potential for this to be grade A, 9-8 style of FIFA. Like, Nick Sneb gets cooking inside the box, Leipzig might struggle. If Anders and Umut do what they just did against Team Hulk Ninja in Pyjamas, it could be a 5-0 after one half.
Yeah, let's give them a light preview. We've already talked a lot about Anders and Umut. You got the structure, you got the skill set. We talk about Nick Sneb a lot, but I don't think we've brought it up today. Nick Sneb, from a mechanical standpoint, the skills, the cancellations, the extracurricular, all the additional features you need. He's that specialty guy. He's able to give you all the skill moves at any big moment. And then Ethan has been more that organized, that structured player. And we've seen ups and downs, but at the end of the day, they are getting results time and time again. And I felt their belief, not only in the interview, but just every time that we talk to them, when we see them. Even Ethan, after winning the last penalty kick shootout, they said they felt good going into penalties, which I don't know if anyone ever feels good going into penalties.
And I'm not sure if there was a conversation behind the scenes. I'm not sure if there was a Denman discussion happening, but one thing that I've seen today from Ethan and Nick Sneb in particular, especially Ethan being the captain of this team, being the more experienced of this team, he looks to have taken a bit more responsibility, whether it's the conversations happening behind the scenes that we can see that you can't, whether it's the pause in the game to sort of go over a few things. He looks to have taken the mantle fully of captain, and sort of his experience is what's guiding them, in my opinion, over these extra time penalty matches.
And that makes sense. That checks out. That's valid. Ethan has a lot of success 1v1, more success than Nick Sneb. And that's not a takeaway from Nick Sneb. Ethan's just been that good this year. And I would expect this to be back and forth with a lot of goals, because even when you look at Footwears, they're sporadic. They're going to be more aggressive. They're not going to be as passive as the previous matchup. And I don't think you can keep RB Leipzig from scoring. So it's just going to be a matter of who's going to put up more at the end of the game. And if we get penalties, I'm not mad at that. Give me extra time, give me penalties. I'm good with that. You can shake my hand.
One of the times that RB Leipzig have matched up against an English team this year in Fnatic, EA Sports Cup quarter-final, it finished 8-1 to Fnatic. Well, RB Leipzig capitulated on the grandest of stages. Will they fall today, or will Footwears rise? We're going to have to wait and see.
Same tournament, EA Sports Cup. They were in the same group. That equated to a lot of goals being scored and a lot of goals being conceded.
Oh my.
We commentated on that one. It was 4-all. It's one of the wildest games this year in 2v2 competition. If that can be something we can remake, replicate, manifest, if I can get a petition that I can sign to put that into motion, I'm with the goods.
Well, here we go. Ethan and Nick Sneb, Team Footwears Europe. From left to right, black and green strip, and from right to left, all in white, the wonder kid, Anders Vergang, the world champion, Umut. This is going to be a remarkable 2 legs of FIFA. Strap yourself in, because it could be a very quick start here from Team Footwears. Edge of the box dancing, good defensive work from RB Leipzig, and that's something that RB Leipzig don't get enough credit for. Defensively, they barely concede chances.
They're so good at a lot of the manual steps and just controlling certain areas with spacing, even frame rates, understanding what skills can beat you, what cancellations can beat you, what your options are. And it's all about micromanaging, doing this on the pivot, doing this on the fly, being able to adjust almost off instinct.
Instinctively, you give the controller to Umut and Anders. I don't think there's many better, to be completely honest. To give you the lowdown on the player indicators, if you want to watch an individual player at home and see who maybe wins or loses their side, the FIFAe Club World Cup. Red for Footwears will be Ethan, he will be the captain of this side. Yellow, Nixneb, and for Red Bull RB Leipzig, it's going to be the dark blue of Anders Vergang, the captain. The main reason you pick the captain in the two is who's better with the goalkeeper, who's better with the goalkeeper movement. Their sole responsibility is moving that goalkeeper, and whenever you see Footwears get the ball out wide, that is where Anders will start bringing that keeper all the way 8, 9, 10 yards out.
And both these teams like more of an organized havoc approach, and you already can probably tell if you watched the previous semifinal with Leipzig, it was a lot of NIP looking for opportunities and not finding them.
Just followed on the edge of the box there, gets the strike away, good save.
They were trying to slow down the game, where they were trying to speed up. Both these teams want high tempo, fast tempo, quick movement, a lot of chances.
On the back of that chance, RB Leipzig recycle the corner. Milinkovic-Savic getting involved, but he surprisingly on this time with the ball at his feet, not in the air. I'm surprised by that Milinkovic-Savic shout, because it's not something you associate with them. They're not hitting German crosses a lot. They're not whipping the ball into the air. This is where they are dangerous, in around the box, that 1, 2, 3, 4 passing moves before they release Umut or Anders to go and be magical with a step-over combination or a green time strike.
I think Savic is there for 2 reasons. One, to take up space in the midfield. He's fantastic at that. The chase back, all-inclusive, and that type of ordeal.
Can't see it for Footwears. Is he onside? He is.
That's not the right judgment. They had him. At least another dribble there. Fantastic goalkeeper movement's got to be said. And then number 2, I was going to say, is the long throw. They've been using Savic for this long throw knockdown. Even though they don't whip it crosses, that's something that only he really gives you that clear advantage.
Footwears all in this game so far.
They have to convert, Rich. They have to convert from there, across the body.
Van der Sar called into action 2 times in the opening 20 minutes. Cross whipped into the box. It's a good defensive header from RB Leipzig, and Umut will just bring the ball clear. No real incentive to fly forward this early in the game. And, I mean, if you're neutral in this match, you are enjoying every single kick so far. End-to-end FIFA, both teams on the front foot. An attacking play at the forefront of the mind. Ousmane Dembele, one of those picks for Team Footwears. He gets the starting 11. No surprise in that.
I'm just going to get into some of the team choices, because you see the likes of Zaha. Zaha's playing as a fullback. And it's common in the competitive scene to have these offensive fullbacks or almost wingers playing as fullbacks, but it's because they use them so much more offensively for whipping in the crosses and attacking that space. They become more valuable in that type of role versus the defensive chase back.
Always looking to build up here. Ronaldinho on the edge of the box. Good play. Can't quite convert. You might see a big admission from the Team Footwears side. Where's R9? He wasn't one of the key players, and he's not in the starting 11 for them. Gone with Pele, Ronaldinho, Mbappe as their attacking forefront. Ronaldo Nazario, shout out Gravison for that pronunciation, has been put away to the sidelines. RB Leipzig looking to build. Here is R9, the magic man, and he fires RB Leipzig into the lead.
Can't let him turn and burn. Gets the ball in the middle of the pitch, able to eye up, step over, slightly to the right side, opens up everything. Goalkeeper wrong place, wrong time, no man's land, and you've got 1-0 for Leipzig, and that hurts you a little bit. If you're a Footwears fan, they've had a couple big chances and they weren't able to convert. You've got to be clinical at this level.
31 minutes on the clock, and RB Leipzig, Umut and Anders find themselves 1 goal to the good. There's a quick start against Team Hunt Ninja in Pyjamas. The fourth goal fell around the 76th minute mark. Will it be a similar story this time around? Footwears have had a knack of conceding early, but then getting back into the game. Yes. They can't afford to go 2 or 3 down against this RB Leipzig side because the game will be over.
I'm sure they wouldn't prefer it, but that has been part of the narrative.
Every game, pretty much.
They go down early and they kind of battle back in. I just think they like adversity. They're maximizing the marketing time. They're on air all the time, giving you extra time into penalty kicks in every single matchup. And I don't want to say they're slow starters because they're in the right places. Maybe they're slow converters.
The resiliency that they show, though, in those matches, they'll always bounce back. I mean, it's exhausting. Here is Pele. Mbappe, step overs, slots it in the bottom corner, and we've got a game on our hands.
Gifted, talented, prolific. You got the turn again. You're seeing the step over. That extra ball roll is so underrated and underappreciated in that moment. It gives you a little more of a re-angle for the 1v1. Goalkeeper can't do anything with it, but if you want to revisit that, you're looking to be a pro FIFA player, watch that one back. It's these little details. The subtle details make all the difference.
It's the exit out of the step over as well that creates that space. If you just did a regular step over, he's probably not getting it. It's the movement that you can create out of that to open up the space past the defender.
It's a 3-in-1. You got the step over into the ball roll that gives you a resurface to then use the outside of the boot, Trivela type of animation that we know is part of the meta this year.
Once again, Team Footwears are 1-0 down and equalising the game.
I think they heard you talking. Like, Rich is on the commentary, we got to do something for him.
RB Leipzig faced adversity against Brøndby yesterday in the quarterfinals. If you were watching that game, they prevailed in the end. However, if you go to extra time and penalties, there's only one winner looking at the facts, and that is Team Footwears. Final chance of the half. Oh. The pitch has just opened up. That is... They're asking questions, Team Footwears. They're going, what just went wrong? What happened?
Horrific player switching. I don't know if it was a mismanage, a miscommunication. You got one player dragging too far this way. I actually believe RB Leipzig hesitated because it was so wide open, they didn't know what to do with themselves.
They're just looking at it going, oh, all right, I'll take the space. Yeah, why not? Go on, then.
That's what we talk about, maybe the nerves. 45th minute, the pressure is on.
Half-time, two-legged affair is what is in the offing here, as we see Umut and Anders in conversation right there.
Don't read lips.
A lot of the time it's Anders talking to Umut. This is what I expect from you. This is what I want you to do. You see the heart rates here from Ethan and Nick Sneb. Ethan with a cool 136. As the Saudi fans in the arena, they've been loving Anders throughout this weekend. Nick Sneb 142 and rising as they trail 2-1. Mike, we had 3 goals in the opening half. Let's have a look at them. And
I said I wanted to watch them back, so I guess I'm going to get my wish.
You get what you want.
So you've got the likes of Leipzig. Beautiful finish there. I think we're back into the action. You're going to have to hold that. We might have to watch the other ones when they come back later.
Mentions Zaha.
A little more of a defensive approach bringing in Klosterman. But yeah, the revisit, we're dealing with a lot of step overs. A lot of step overs and then one massive defensive error from Footwears there in the 45th.
I mean, I've got more questions now out of the back of that defensive error. Will it hurt them moving forward? Are they going to be a little bit more tentative to play a switch? Are they going to be a little bit more tentative when RB Leipzig get the ball and start to progress in the final thirds?
You know what it looked like? It looked as if they didn't see that they had switched players, so you were just dragging them in the wrong direction.
Opened. Yeah. Interesting, very interesting.
It's uncharacteristic, it's unforced, and it's unusual at this level.
Saw that running to the box there. The dribble pass came in, but maybe try and fake out the German cross into the box, send the runner in, and then play a different sort of diverted pass in field. RB Leipzig looks to go 3-1 up. Rashford gets a nice little bounce, but his pass is poor, and Footwears, once again, in this back and forth affair, will come forward.
You see that in high-end FIFA time and time again. You have to use dummy runs. It opens up space, it drags players out of position. It also gives you options. And when you have options, you have a little more versatility, you got variety, and it makes it harder to predict what's going to happen, when it's going to happen, how it's going to happen.
But a lot of the ball, Footwears, 60% of the possession at this point. Camavinga, a couple of twists and turns, but doesn't quite exit where he wants on that particular attack. To put it in perspective as well, not only are they playing for the trophy, 300 grand, the winner takes all. Unbelievable.
Hefty pocketbooks.
For one of these two clubs. Two European giants here, Team Footwears. Their crowning moment potentially happening in 30 minutes' time. Or will it be arguably the team that was put together for this exact reason, put together to win? A dream team, some would say, in Umut and Anders. Edging ever closer. Everything's going through that midfield at the moment. Constant switches of plays, constantly just trying to wait for a mistake, wait for a player to be pulled out of position here. Our Team Footwears, just like that, as Pele finds the ball fired into him. Unfortunately, he can't turn quick enough, and RB Leipzig come forward through Kylian Mbappe.
These teams might have more in common than we like to admit. They both love a 4-4-2. Both of them have the structured player that has more 1v1 experience, more 1v1 success when you're looking at Ethan and Umut. And then both of them have that creative maestro type. A little more unpredictable when you're dealing with Nick, Sneb, or Anders.
A spark out of nowhere that can ignite. As you see, once again, Frenkie de Jong on this occasion, piling into the box. Team Footwears have held this ball for maybe 10 minutes here. But once again, they just can't quite breach that final line of defence. The midfield drops back, the defence sits relatively firm, and they're unable, once again, to penetrate and create any sort of good chance.
It's easier said than done. We're not seeing a lot of press from Leipzig here. They're doing a lot more of that sitting back. They're covering the passing angles. And they're letting Footwears have the ball out wide. But again, you're not scoring goals there. And they're not a team that really whips in a bunch of crosses. They've had some moments, but I wouldn't say it's part of their organic programming, not their bread and butter, not what they're looking to accomplish as a first option.
If you start seeing crosses being played into the box, Team Footwears have gone to plan C, plan D. No more bread and butter, more hot chili.
You see beautiful use there on a side note of the player lock. Hard to do that, even more difficult, I would say, in a 2v2 because you have so many simultaneous movements. Still not able to unlock the space, still not able to generate opportunity. And we got to give credit to Leipzig's defending. It's been fantastic.
Yeah, once again, they don't allow you chances, very free chances that you ever get against RB Leipzig. And when they can create just like that, inches offside, he sold it with the bottle scoop turn.
And they have discipline. They don't get baited into the mistakes. And that's kind of part of the game in FIFA, is you're trying to misposition your opponents or offset them a little bit. Sometimes it's those fake runs, those dummy runs. Sometimes it's a quick passing or a skill move, or even throwing out an early skill move, knowing that you're going to go with a secondary skill move. It's again, just trying to get some of those defensive players or even the holding midfielders to move a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right. Find those margins.
We do have a two-legged game in this grand final. We've got another 90 minutes left to play. How important is it for Team Footwears right now to potentially get an equaliser going into the second leg? Personally, I think you probably take a 2-1 after trailing 1-0. You get back into the game and then they get the goal to go in front.
If you're Footwears, I think you're a little frustrated because you've had so much of the ball.
Yeah. Especially when this man is galloping forward. Vanja Milinkovic-Savic offloads into Mbappe. Both sides, I have to say, have defended very well. I know we were just talking there about
Leipzig's defending. That's why you have
defending.
to revisit again. 45th minute. What happened? What went wrong? Because
I'm sure we'll see it.
Both teams have been so consistent, so reliable with the tackles, the player switching, the positioning. Even when they're pressing, whether they press or they go, they're doing this as a team. They're aligned.
It's been a very 50-50 game. I mean, it's probably only 51-49, and that 1% is the mistake. But 1% can be a difference between a world champion and a runner-up. Injury time here in the first leg. Team Footwears, 1 additional minute. They've had a lot of the ball in these wide areas, unable to really break from wide into central as the fake throws come out. This could be a chance here for Team Footwears. That's Nick Sneb in possession. Getting to the byline. He's dangerous. He gets the ball taken off him. It's on the byline. I don't have a clue what's just happened, and the referee takes us into full
And
time.
again, you don't even see that very often. That was the half drag back. It can be used as a setup skill. It's more of a builder skill, but we haven't really seen that in rotation in the pro world for a couple of years. It's kind of a throwback.
Yeah, incredible first leg. A real tactical affair, a bit of a chess match. But who is going to move first in the second leg? Let's head back to the desk and Rachel to break down what they've seen.
Yeah, thank you very much, Richard and Mike. I mean, what a first leg that was here in this year's E-Club World Cup Grand Final. I'll come to you first, Lee. What did you make of the game?
I mean, you just got to look at the second goal, really. That's one that Footwears, and you can see, I think that's almost certainly what they're talking about. It was a big error. Obviously, someone pulled the player out of position. There was magnificent amounts of space, almost to the point RB Leipzig had no clue. Like, hang on a minute, is this offside? It has to be offside, surely. No, goal.
And in terms of the response time, Alex, when they went 1-0 down, we're seeing the first goal again on the replay. 30 minutes in, Anders Vergang opened up the account. They responded early, and they responded quickly, which was key, I think.
Definitely key. That's what you need to do against this RB Leipzig team. And it's what Footwears have been used to throughout this whole tournament, just constantly going behind, but always fighting. That there from Ethan, that ball roll, to take up that angle, to go for that outside the foot shot, was outrageous. The composure on that to be able to do it. But in this here, you see Nixneb on that orange cursor, the circle, just moving Diaz completely out of position, not where he wanted it to be. The goal went in, and I think Ethan looked at his teammate and just went, what went wrong? What happened?
And in terms of how we are at now then, one leg down, certainly still a lot more to come in this one, Aga, but for Team Footwears, what did you make of the game overall?
I think they did really, really well. Didn't allow a lot of chances, and they still asked questions to RB Leipzig's defense. So, I mean, they're definitely in this. It was the matter of that one mistake that separated them, but they have to be very cautious on these counter-attacks, and I think you can explain a little bit about that, Alex.
I was just about to say, off your point there, compared to that semi-final with Team Hullet Ninjas in Pyjamas, they were 4-0 down in that first leg. Right now, for Team Footwears, it's 2-1. They're giving themselves a very, very good chance to take the second leg to RB Leipzig.
A completely different sort of story to what the semi-final you commentated on, Lee, when it was all RB Leipzig in one leg.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, it's the first time we've really seen Anders and Umut being vocal with one another during the matchup, obviously during the goals, during everything. So it seems that, you know, they're definitely trying to make sure they know the pressure is on them now. They have that goal lead. And for Umut, obviously, he's been here. He is the world champion. But for Anders, this is his moment. This is where he's going to put his name out there. His name's out there, but this is like almost the achievement, effectively, that goes alongside it. So many times we've talked about great players that have just never quite won something. This is his moment right now.
We're on the side of RB Leipzig, Aggie. 90 minutes away, Anders Vergang at 17 years of age from his first World Championship.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely see on the pictures the leadership he's actually taking. He's pushing Umut, and I mean, he knows they're getting close now, and they will try to seal it off now.
Well, we can't wait for the second leg. Who will be crowned this year's FIFAe Club World Cup winner? For now, it's back to Richard and Mike.
Thank you very much, Brandon, Aga, Alex and Lee. Great stuff there, bringing us their thoughts after, you could say, the half-time whistle. Here, Mike, I'm sure everyone in attendance is loving the action as well that they are seeing. Anders and Umut 2-1 up, but it's so open, this game still. I mean, Footwears can score a goal in the first 2 minutes, and it's...
One goal is nothing in FIFA. We've spent a lot of time in this space, from commentary to the desk work to analysts to watching to playing, you name it. I do think it's important that Footwears, and it might seem kind of straightforward, that they get the next goal. You don't want to have a 2-goal spread and try to battle back against a team like Leipzig, which, again, we talk about their offense a lot and we give it so much credit, but defensively, they've been so sound. They're not breaking rules. They're following fundamentals. The way that they're reading the game plan that they have, I've been so impressed defensively, what we've seen today from RB Leipzig.
The thing that RB Leipzig do better than most, and this is also in a solo perspective for Umut and Anders, when they get in, very rarely, you won't play well in a game. When you're in that good spell, you'll have a spell of maybe 15, 20 minutes in the game where you're like, oh my God, I'm winning every second bounce. I'm pushing forward. My press is good. They always seem to score in those good periods of play. Team Footwears, if they have a period of play where they are playing well and they're in control of this game, they have to capitalise on it. They have to score in that period of play. If not, when RB Leipzig get 5-10 minutes, they might score 3.
I like that point of perspective. It's definitely a true statement where there are a lot of moments in that second half of the first leg where we were saying Footwears has the ball. They got a lot of possession, but they really weren't able to break them down, and not in the middle of the pitch. They were stuck on the wings trying to find entry passes.
Here we go, back underway in the second leg of action. Your final 90 minutes of the FIFAe Club World Cup 2023. Richard Buckley and Mike LaBelle bringing you the crowning moments here, live from Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. RB Leipzig all in white from left to right, 2-1 up after the first leg. And from right to left in that team Footwear strip will be the boys in green. Oh. Good double up there, because Milinkovic-Savic was walking through.
Nearly the proper setup too. You saw the ball rolls going into the scoop turn, and it allows them to kind of change direction. And it works pretty well with bulkier players. Savic, of course, has the upgraded 5-star skills, and he moves much better side to side than you probably would expect, but there are more agile players, I think it's safe to say.
I'm not sure if a 6'8" and agile.
Well, to be fair, Petr Cech at 6'6", he moves a lot better than Savic.
Mbappe galloping forward here, and this could be a chance for RB Leipzig. The step over's coming out from Umut. I gave you it in the first leg, so I'll give you it in the second now. The turquoise icon in possession right now. That will be Nick Sneb. Dark blue Ethan on the other side for the leaders in this matchup. That's Umut defending there with the yellow icon. And Anders in red.
Track back that tough.
Henry left wing back. Yeah, go on then. Bad touch though from Thierry Henry. As potentially a chance starting to emerge here from Team Footwears. I'd like to see them just be a little bit more quick in their attacks.
I'd like to see more central, even from the center mids trying to feed those attackers. And maybe that's why they're trying to avoid it right there, is there's mistakes in space. But you do have players that move well side to side. Look at De Jong here. De Jong can find that entry pass. I think it makes you a little less predictable, gives you more options. Again, you're trying to vary your gameplay as much as possible.
But you also probably know that RB Leipzig might have the best press in the business. So as soon as that ball goes into De Jong, you're going to have two players on his back looking to counter-attack. Here is the man we were just talking about, Frenkie de Jong, linking into Bruno Fernandes. What does he have on the edge of the box? And again, he just runs into a white shirt at the back.
And again, Leipzig does such a good job of having the one striker and then being able to feed the additional overlapping runs and finding those guys so consistently.
And everyone's getting fed just there as Marcus Rashford linking up in the final third.
If you play a lot of FIFA too, you know the difficulty. When you send it to that striker, you're surrounded by 4 or 5 bodies, to be able to find that through ball, that release pass, not have to go all the way back and have a full recycle. There's a certain gift, there's a certain talent to being able to establish and have that vision.
All 4 players on the main stage locked in. No one has broke yet in this second leg of action. Maybe Footwears do start looking for a few crosses into the box. Maybe you just try and break down another way, because at this moment, in these areas, as they play the ball into the middle of the pitch, they've had one chance where they've scored. Other than that, in 120 minutes of FIFA, they've not been able to penetrate.
Also love to see some of the versatility or different selections between players that are on the pitch. We've seen Henry now become a bit of a staple. Robin Van Persie's making appearances. You got the likes of Dembele. Not a lot of competitors are using Dembele, even though that new upgraded item has a bit of everything.
It was about the ball out wide a lot here, but Ronaldinho just a little bit more time and space than he has previously. Frenkie de Jong into Ousmane Dembele, the stop and turn just not quite quick enough.
Oh, he tried to stop, pop, and give you a little bit of something. I think he was trying to set up an Elastico. Just, it was the right angle to have that moment of unpredictable nature, something to throw off your opposition, keep him guessing.
R9 into Rashford, double step over, 3-1, RB Leipzig.
And to your point, Rich, once they get there, they know what to do with it. Step over is beyond elite. We know that Anders is known for it. The double scoop, the double piece, a lot of scissors. You're cutting, you're slicing, you're dicing, and then you have so much time to hesitate to kind of take a glance, almost a quick glance. You bought yourself a half second. Maybe it's not hesitation, it's slight hesitation, just to know where to go with the goalkeeper.
I've been more impressed from RB Leipzig, the team that is free-flowing, scores so many goals in their defensive work than I have offensively.
I mean, watch it back.
they've not allowed Footwears anything in this tie. They had one chance where Ethan popped off a little double step over, created the space, the ball rolled to make the angle, and he slotted away. But other than that, it has been a back five, solid.
It's all out wide. It's all out wide.
And you're happy for it to be there?
I'm a FIFA player that goes by the percentages, and I'll let you have the ball out wide all day before I let you have the middle of the pitch.
Bruno Fernandes once again having to go out wide. That's the only player that's on. Frankie de Jong, his pass intercepted.
We haven't talked about the Socrates, also new to the rotations.
Ooh, could be a chance here. It's fallen nicely for Team Footwears. Double step over, creating the space. Great block from
Fantastic
Michael
defense.
Ballack.
You had so many different things happening there. They don't misstep. They don't shift the bodies. See if they could generate something for the corner kick.
Everyone's invested in this game right here. We saw Alex Anago watching intently as it's whipped into the box. Doesn't quite fall to Virgil van Dijk. Camavinga once again floats it into the back stick.
It's the wrong player to Dembele.
That's why you need a Van Dijk.
It's the wrong matchup. But these are those little instances that are that important. You have to play what's in front of you. You have to play the percentage. You know you have a bad matchup there. You've got to go for something different.
Look at this back three. Michael Ballack. Buffon.
Also brand new item.
Yeah.
Highly regarded, highly rated.
They just play with each other.
If you're confused at home, there's been a lot of shapeshifter goalkeeper items introduced, and they are remarkable. They're different. You're going to see Neuer scoring goals potentially. Petr Cech off the bench is a super sub, now a striker. Savic, arguably the best defensive midfielder in the game.
Hugo Lloris played the strings at centre mid.
Hugo Lloris, it moves almost like a point guard or a shooting guard in basketball. His side-to-side movement, it's unbelievable. His responsiveness, you can't make this up.
45 minutes left for Team Footwears.
You'll see Martinez in some teams. Another center back
option.
option.
Centre half, yeah. To salvage their Club World Cup. Ethan has been at this exact point before in his career. 2020, they lost a penalty shootout, himself and Resende for Team 11s against Complexity. We've had one goal in the second leg, and this is how it fell.
Oh, there you see it. Just step over that carries you into the right place. And once you're there, you know what to do with it. Rashford has been phenomenal for them. I think there's a lot of debate on using Rashford over some of these options. There's a lot of subjectivity with player choice. And the discussion that we saw there from the likes of Nick Sneb and Ethan, I think they were asking or discussing as to when they should go for it. When do you want to make that tactical adjustment? When do you want to go for the additional pressure? We don't really see Denman behind him, their coach, get as involved with some of the tactical breakdowns.
Hey, motivational.
Yeah, he is more of a motivational coach.
Team Footwears, 2 goals to potentially cause some drama.
A lot of time to work with.
I mean, if any team, any club's going to do it, it is Team Footwears. They have been must-watch television here at the Club World Cup. 2 penalty shootout victories, a last-minute winner against Atlantide Waves. On the other hand, RB Leipzig, a couple of more comfortable matchups. A memorable tie versus Team Bromby, which has found them here to the grand final. Footwears come forward once again.
Fantastic chase back there from RB Leipzig as well. I thought they were going to have a break. There was no space.
Bruno Fernandes trying to unpick something in this defence. Can't find the key on this occasion. And once again, RB Leipzig more than happy to see this clock tick down. Mbappe. A 4th goal surely kills the game. The next goal in this tie is pivotal in which direction we will twist and turn. And here is RB Leipzig. The ball falls very kindly to Footwears. Sometimes there you make the tackle, it falls to the striker. On this occasion.
Fancy footwork with Mbappe. Try not to step over exit you would have preferred, but I think they were just trying to kind of realign and then go into a secondary skill.
I've not seen enough from... I mean, the wide players have had a lot of the ball, but they've not been able to get them narrow, especially when you start to create. A formation change has to be in order here for Team Footwears. Hopefully you don't make that formation change. trailing 3 goals.
If you asked me at the beginning of the year, the starting midfield of RB Leipzig would be Savic, the goalkeeper. I repeat, Savic, the goalkeeper, and Socrates, who we have never seen in a competitive rotation before this year.
Chance here for Team Footwears. Driven pass into the box.
That's unlucky. They've used the player lock. Just kind of an unforced error on the layoff.
They conceded a goal just like that against Ajax, where it went straight on the goalkeeper.
It's kind of a hit and miss. You're trying to whip it in. You're getting that extracurricular, the driven pass. Anytime you use a driven pass, you do take a little bit of a risk with accuracy. You're trying to get a little more of that additional whippage. But I thought by adding the player lock in and then using the driven pass,
you're minimizing the doubt.
Yeah, it would be hitting the foot. And it wasn't even close. It was off by 5-6 feet at least.
Let's see the changes here that have been made.
I think they're switching formation, still in the 4-4-2. Maybe they're going to go with a press after possession loss. What are we in, the 65th minute?
Pogba has to come on. He's been pivotal in a lot of these games. He is going to be introduced.
Yeah, Pogba up front with Pele, and Mbappe's
maybe
moving out
Messi
wide to the wing. We haven't seen Messi really getting minutes like that.
Get Lloris on.
Lloris has made such a difference for so many teams. You start to ask or start to question, maybe it is his time to shine.
So it's going to be Henry and Pogba both brought on here for Team Footwears. They're just setting up a couple of different instructions as well. So if you're wondering what they're doing, this might be the formation they're playing with, and then throughout the game,
a multi-switch. It's looking like a 3-4-1-2, and then a 4-4-2, but a more aggressive 4-4-2. I don't think it'll be as flat or as defensive as we've been seeing with this 4-4-2, and I'm expecting them to stay with the 4-4-2 maybe for the next 5 to 10 minutes. It looks like they were already setting up their secondary swap.
The wide players, they've been involved, but in the wrong. You want them coming in fields. Being that extra pass at the back post. Instead, they've just been stuck out wide with no real help. Pele gets the ball robbed off him. And RB Leipzig maybe thinking for a fourth, maybe thinking try and kill the game. If I know Umar and Anders, it's a fourth, followed by a fifth, followed by a sixth. It could be right around the corner as Ronaldinho. He hit him as well with that reverse elastico.
Oh, double cute pause as well. I don't think either team likes what they're seeing. And I don't love the midfield here. The 4-4-2 doesn't give them the options that I think they need to have for some of the probing passes. They find themselves out wide if you're looking at Footwears, but they're not crossing. They're not whipping in crosses. They're not getting the advantage of having that additional wing play.
This could be that advantage. Paul Pogba off the bench, green time off the post, the rebound straight into the hands of Edwin van der Sar.
It's got to be said, that's unlucky. He did everything right there. The elastico, you open it up. You've got the double 5-star with Pogba. Green time, still hits the post. Rebound open, goalkeeper gets back into position. Maybe you don't take that first time going for the rebound. Maybe they rushed it a little bit, but the initial setup there with Pogba, he's got to be complimented. You can insert some superlatives. It's the right player, it's the right zoning, it's the right skill move, it's the right finish.
What minute was it? Do you remember where they tied up the game against Atlanta Wave? I think the 77th minute they scored, and then the 87th they got the equaliser. They've done it before.
And then the 120th for a winner.
They've done it before.
We've seen without penalties at this point. That one hurts. That one hurts because you had the ultimate teaser. Yeah, but you got a little preview. You did what you were supposed to do. It didn't work out for you. Sometimes there's a little bit of that misfortune. And then I don't love the rebound attempt. I see what they saw. They went first time. You were in a good position. Maybe you take that touch.
If you're leading, if the roles are switched, RB Leipzig take a touch. Maybe another touch, and then probably a green time finish. For Team Footwears, he's willing the ball into the back of the net.
And you can see here Leipzig as well as into the classic 5-4-1, going with more of that defensive approach. You're going to look for a lot of those swinging side to side with Klosterman and Davies as easy outlets, and then of course if space opens up, overlapping runs. They've done such a good job with a lot of the supporting runs. You find RB Leipzig get the ball up to the striker, holds it up slightly, and then you have that outlet, you have that release out wide.
Pogba at left mid, maybe going to be used more for his defensive work here.
I think more so for lobbing the ball to him as an outlet. It's a safe outlet, he'll win the header. And he's probably going to be going up against a fullback. He should have a size advantage.
Team Footwears, 13 minutes on the clock, 2 goals needed. You've given us fireworks already. Do we have a couple more rockets in the bag to potentially tie us up? Paul Pogba, his pass intercepted by Virgil van Dijk, once again in the right place at the right time, and with black shirts flying forward, it means one thing, and that's space in behind for RB Leipzig. A little bit of a mistake there, losing possession with Ronaldinho. They go direct, and Thierry Henry's pass.
That's such good defense there.
The ball is falling back for Team Footwears, all the way back to the goalkeeper. Sometimes gets a bit nervy in there. Every single loose pass is going Team Footwears' way as Pele sticks it wide of the post.
That might be it, Rich. They had to finish. We talk about needing to be a surgeon. You have to be clinical. They haven't been. And a little bit of that goalkeeper movement threw off the shot. It wasn't time green. I don't think it was even necessarily rushed, but Van der Sar made himself big. He took up a lot of space in the goal.
Once again, into a pause. We can't have many pauses left at this rate. Surely we're getting towards the where you see that little message saying you have no pauses remaining.
I'm going to get ahead of ourselves here. I think it is worth bringing up. Umit now with the FIFAe World Cup. He's got the E-Club. He's got the virtual Bundesliga. A couple occasions being the German champion. I think he starts to join that conversation now of the Nicholas, the MS Desaris, the Tex.
Put his name in there. He just floated his name in the hat.
I'm just looking at.
I would say
what's right is right. He also made the finals for the ECL. I know he didn't win the ECL, but he's there. He's looking top 4 in ECL this year. Like, you're just adding to the accomplishments in the achievement list. We're looking at majors.
He's a very consistent operator, is Umit. Ever since we first saw him, I think, one of the big events at Atlanta back in FIFA 20, he was just so cool, calm and composed under pressure.
And that's when he was raw. Yeah. He's gotten a lot better since
He's been redefined. With every championship victory he's had, he's added a little bit on. And maybe you're going to see Anders start to add on a little bit more. But Footwears have got their own story left to tell. 2-3 minutes remaining.
Can they get the ball back? This is one of those key moments where it is a question. Is it 1 minute of extra time or is it 2?
They've got to go now. Team Footwears, 3-2 down.
Surely
Will
not.
they get a chance?
That's it.
RB Leipzig just holding possession. 1 additional minute, all the way back to the goalkeeper. Anders Vergang, Umit, you are world champions once again. RB Leipzig on top of the club mountain here in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia.
Congratulations. It's got to be said, they've earned it. They've looked the most dominant throughout the last few days. Nobody wanted to play them. I talked to a lot of competitors. It was a matter of how far can I advance in the tournament while avoiding playing RB Leipzig.
And commiserations to Team Footwears. You see the sportsmanship from everyone.
They should be proud.
A fantastic achievement. I think this season, Team Footwears, from everyone at that organisation, have levelled up when it comes to FIFA esports. They are a tier 1 organisation right now in FIFA esports. But S tier, RB Leipzig, 2 individuals, a super team assembled.
And we said, and maybe not we, but the people said they had questions with Vergang coming into this year. All right, he can compete now. What's he going to give us? World champion. First year out, world champion. And he's still got 2 more events after this. We're looking at E-Nations, E-World Cup. He's qualified for both of those. Can he bring something back to Denmark?
Remarkable achievement from Anders Vergang and Umit. RB Leipzig invested in this team. Invested in the club. Invested in Anders. And they're starting to see the benefits for all that hard work behind the scenes.
It comes down to infrastructure as well. When you look at investment, I've had the luxury of spending a lot of time in Leipzig. They've built out their own production studio.
They're training the guys with esports. They're developing talent. They've got creators. They've got coaching staff. They have people in production. You could easily argue they have the best players in the world here when you're looking at guys that they also found. It wasn't as they just bought into them. They developed them. The same with even Anders. We knew about him, but you still had to bring it together. You brought the mentality together.
You've got that raw talent. You have to make it a world champion, because talent doesn't always come out on top.
We got to give a lot of love to the coach as well, with
Absolutely.
Daniel, also known as the Ferminator.
He celebrated more than Anders and Ummett did.
He's been there every step of the way, and he deserves a lot of credit. You got to work with a lot of personalities, a lot of egos.
I bet it's a hard job to coach as well, Anders and Ummett. There's two big egos right there.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
But so much FIFA
I don't
quality.
envy him. I don't envy him.
So much talent for our winning team. Spencer, take it away.
Well, it's time to crown our winners. Congratulations, Anders, Ummett. Please go and claim your trophy. The champions of the FIFAe Club World Cup 2023, RB Leipzig! Incredible scenes there, crowning the winners. But of course, we've got to have a word with the lads from Footwears Europe. An incredible run, Ethan and Nick Sneb. How are you feeling in the immediate aftermath?
I actually don't know, I'll be honest with you. Like, we've just lost a final for like the trophy. Like, we really truly believe we're the best 2v2 team, but I'll be honest, like, I'm actually happy. Like, I truly believe we deserve to win, but that's FIFA, that's life. Like, whatever happens, happens. Like, I'm very happy that we played. I've got no regrets. All the practice went well. Congrats to Leipzig, they did play well, but I'm very happy with how we played, and that's just life, unfortunately.
There was a moment at the end there when you got that second goal. We started to think, surely not another Footwears comeback. Did you believe?
I did, to be fair. The whole tournament's been mad, to be honest. Like, the comebacks, the penalty wins. Like, we were never out. So when we got that 88th minute, we were like, come on, and let's do it again. But it wasn't meant to be, and yeah, it's sad.
Still, on the bright side, $150,000 secured. That's impressive. That's got to be an incredible moment for you guys.
Of course, like, after the event, we reflect back on it, it'll be fantastic. But as of right now, we're still upset. But of course, the money is great to look back on, so that's a consolation.
Of course, the E-Club World Cup is specifically about the organisation as well. And Footwears, you know, it's a great org. It's been around for a long time. Just narrowly missing out on the major trophy here. But have you got a word for the guys at Footwears that have put you in this position?
No, I appreciate all the support. They all know it. Yeah, everyone back home, all the stuff behind the Footwears scenes, much appreciated. And we apologise we couldn't get the trophy, but I hope you've done me proud.
Well done, guys. You've been incredible, and it's really one of the stories of the tournament, the journey you guys have been on. So I hope you don't feel too down, and you can look back with pride. Congratulations there on a great campaign. You've got the winning team here, of course, RB Leipzig. We've got to speak to the guys. And as we said before the game, if you won that, it was going to be the highlight so far of your FIFA career. Is that how it feels?
I not really, to be honest now, but I know, like, when I'm gonna look back at my career, I know this was like the first big trophy I won. I'm like really happy that we won. I feel yesterday we played really bad. I think we could have lost easily against one of the two teams, but today we played so much better, and I'm really happy, and I think it's deserved that we won after today's performance.
You say about the first big trophy you've won. Are we going to see you win more this summer? We're going to see you in 2 more events back to back. What about a three-peat? Could you be the first person ever to win all 3?
I mean, the haters can talk so much they want, but now I won the first, and I will go for the next 2 as well.
an incredible performance from you as well. The fact that you've won the E-World Cup last year and the E-Club World Cup this year, that's almost impressive in a standalone kind of category you're in now as a multiple winner of so many different events back to back.
Yeah, of course. I'm really happy to win also this event, to win this World Cup, because last year we didn't qualify for this event, and it was like we were shocked to not qualify for the Club World Cup, because we know we are such a great team and we are both so crazy players. And now we go into the aim with the win the tournament, and I think we just lost one game into group stage. We had the most points in the groups. We won today against NIP like really clear. I think it's a really deserved trophy.
You wouldn't tell me the secret of your success before the game, but it's over now. Can you give us a little bit of a glimpse as to what makes this partnership work?
To be honest, it was just a joke. We don't have a secret. We're just playing, and I think the team chemistry is really good. I mean, like I like Anders very much. I think he also like me. So I think it's really important to get close to each other. That both are really good friends. So I think that's the secret.
$300,000 has been secured. What does that mean to you?
Of course, we're happy that we won the money, but the trophy is so important for all of us three. We worked like so hard for this, and everyone's so relieved that we won. Like we know everyone knows that we are the best team, and finally we proved it.
Let's have a word with your coach as well. This is a team sport, you know, especially this event. RB Leipzig, the winning organisation. What will that mean to the team that you're representing?
Yeah, of course. Like the team is really proud of us, like the whole club. I mean, it's not our first title, and like we keep going and going, and yeah, I'm so proud of the guys. They did so well, and yeah, I love our team chemistry, and yeah.
Incredible stuff, guys. It really was. It felt like your name was on the trophy before you got here, but you kept bouncing back with the pressure. You were dealing with it. Did you ever feel it to be a lot of pressure on your shoulders at any point?
Yeah, of course. Everyone, like Anders said, expected that we should win it. Everyone said you're the favorite. So, of course, there's pressure, but I think we managed to do really, really well. And we played really, really good over the 4 days. I think no team played so good over the 4 days. So I think it's deserved, and we also could handle the pressure. And hopefully Anders could also handle it in the World Cup, because everyone is also expecting a lot from him. Of course, I will also support him.
As well as Germany?
Yeah, of course.
You don't get a lot of time to enjoy this celebration, Anders, because you get 1 day off, which I'm sure you're going to have to spend practicing, right? Because the next day, your E-Nations campaign begins.
Tomorrow I'm going to go in the pool, that's for sure, but I also think there's some practice we have to do.
And looking forward to the E-Nations, you know, if you were to get a victory there with Denmark, of course, what would that mean to you representing your country on that stage and winning?
I mean, I will also want to win the E-Nations, but before the tournament, we had to choose between E-Club and E-Nations, and we both choose E-Club. This is the biggest 2v2 tournament we can win, and we win it together, and we are so happy for that.
Fantastic stuff. Well, guys, we know you've won $300,000. Let's get it in. We've got a large check for you here. If you'd like to take that off me and hold that up, $300,000. Just there we go. $300,000 secured for RB Leipzig. A very impressive campaign. They looked almost unbeatable. They only lost one game in the group stage, as they said, and they came through some incredible teams to get this victory. So congratulations to everyone at RB Leipzig Gaming. What a tournament it's been. And back to you guys.
Thank you so much, Spain. They started the tournament as the pre-favourites. They wrapped up the groups on top, and in the end, it wasn't convincing in the grand final, but they got over the top of Footwears.
As a FIFA enthusiast and someone who loves esports in general, I'm happy to see these guys get the victory. They've deserved it. They've been consistent throughout all the days. They weren't dropping games. They were able to adjust. They were able to pivot. They gave you the reactions, the goals, the defensive, the big moments, all encompassing. Congratulations. And I thought it was interesting that I mentioned this was a more important 2v2.
The E-Nations.
I don't know about that.
We'll have to wait and see.
I don't know about that.
Well, the good thing we've got, not one to wait. Mike, we'll be back in a couple of days' time to see how Denmark and Germany do get on. The Club World Cup has wrapped up. From myself, Richard Buckman, Mike LaBelle. This is from the commentary position. Let's head over to review the tournament with the guys at the desk.
Thanks, Rich. Thanks, Mike. I mean, guys, we're looking at such a glittering duo. I'm going to say trio as well there with Daniel, the coach, of course. But 3 world titles amongst them at the moment. Obviously, we've got Umit He's got 2 under his belt until a few days' time when someone, of course, will take the FIFAe World Cup off of him, and it could be that man next to him. But what makes them so special then, Aggie? I'm going to come to you because you know exactly what it takes. He was saying there, it's a good job we like each other, and that definitely helps.
Yeah, I mean, it's 2 world-class players, and I think a world-class coach as well, because it's definitely not easy to find a partnership with 2 big egos who has a lot of titles under their belts, and for sure will get a lot more. I mean, it's a dynasty, and we have one player in Umut who's already in the history books now with 2 World Cups as one of the best to ever play the game. He has a lot more years still to come. And then we have Anders, who already won his first Club World Cup. He's definitely also going to win a lot of more global titles. So, I mean, this is a dangerous duo.
Alex, he's 17 years old. At the beginning of this tournament, he said, yeah, we're team favourites, and it played out that way. He believes he is the best, and he's proved it here once. Aggie thinks he might do it 3 times. What are your thoughts on that?
Yes, he's 17 years of age. He's been playing tournaments, weekend league, rivals, all of that for so many years that it almost doesn't matter about his age at the minute, purely because he just has that confidence in himself in every single tournament that he's going to go and win and just go out there. And he says, if we don't win this group, if we don't win this game, it's terrible. Like, we might as well just go home now. He's so confident in everything about it. We have to give credit to Umut as well, though, because yes, Anders, we know his quality. Umut, 10th this season. He won the championship last year. He's won that there. Mike said it on broadcast. That puts him in the conversation as arguably one of the best FIFA players over the recent years.
Yeah, it totally does. And let's go to the other side, though, Lee, and just a little bit talk about Team Footwears there. Ethan, he said he still believed right at the very end, and he still believes that they are the best FIFA duo on the planet right now, and they were almost there, just came unstuck. 3-2 in the end. It looked like it possibly 3-1. What did you make of their performances and his words as well?
Yeah, I mean, I guess with the way it's gone for the last couple of days for them, absolutely they should have believed, and they did. Because, unfortunately for them, they're playing against a very experienced, which is crazy to say for Umut. He's only 20 years old, guys. He's a world champion and now a club world champion. Incredible stuff. But yeah, a very experienced. He got the ball and said, immediately sent it all the way back to the goalkeeper, run the clock down, let's finish this off. And unfortunately for Footwears, yeah, they just didn't get a chance to get that last-minute glory that they actually did in the quarterfinals. So, one last hurdle too many maybe for them.
In terms of Footwears, Brandon, their pedigree now, has it gone up a notch?
Absolutely, and I think one thing that we don't see here is it goes without saying it's expensive to run an esports team, especially when there's not many of them in the UK. The team behind them, I think Rowan, Dan, and so forth, not just a website, but an esports organisation that's pumped a lot of money into FIFA esports in Oceania and in England. They foster and they nurture FIFA esports talent, and you know what? They didn't win today, but top 2 in the world, $150,000. That does a lot, obviously, for the 2 players, but also what the esports organisation gets to that too. Absolutely, yeah. It does so much for them.
Yeah, it does indeed. Well, should we just remind you guys at home then of exactly how RB Leipzig became world champions then today? We have their goals, we have some highlights to take you through.
Yeah, well, this is, as we said, how the grand final did play out in the end. RB Leipzig making it an early start from them. Footwears did bounce back, Alex, as we did see minutes after, and we thought, okay, right, game on.
Thought game on, but it just showed that class from RB Leipzig to say, it doesn't matter if you come back. We're going to keep going at you. Just before the stroke of half-time, the defending, we know Nick Sneb and Ethan are going to be looking at that and saying that was a vital moment in that game. To give up a goal that easily with that centre-back just leaving the attacker pretty much in all that time, all that space, and then they really kind of put the tie in that favourable position for RB Leipzig, taking it to 3-1, 33rd minute of that second leg. Footwears, though, they did come back, they did try, and they also had 2 massive moments. That Pogba hit the woodwork, and then Pele just putting that one wide. This was their goal in the 88th minute, where you thought there is a chance. However, just a little bit too late.
Yeah, a little bit too late, obviously, for the German outfit there. Well, that does sum up our first World Championship here. I do, though, want one quick final thought from each of you on a highlight. Doesn't have to be from the final, from this 4 days.
I think for me, Footwears' 119th minute sort of pullback, extra time. They were 1-0 down extra time. They pulled it back, and then that big winner to send them through. Great performance from them overall.
Brandon?
I've got to say, yeah, just Footwears' his tournament, 2 penalty shootouts they delivered. I think the longest ever penalty shootout we saw yesterday is something that we won't see again for a long time.
Yeah. Alex, how about yourself?
I'll go a different way. I'll say the comeback for RB Leipzig against Brøndby. Brøndby put up an excellent performance against them. It just kind of showed where you have Umit and you have Anders that they were possibly going to go all that way and win the title, which they did.
Aggie, where are you going?
You just stole mine. But
I'm sorry.
Watching the Danish, almost full Danish derby was big for me, but I'm going to go with the final then instead. I mean, Leipzig said they were going for the title and they backed it up throughout the entire competition. So I love that kind of scenario, yeah.
And to say as well, Aggie, as 2v2 FIFA goes, we have to give credit to Footwears and RB Leipzig. They gave us an entertaining final at least.
Yeah, and on a very high level. We saw Nip, who is one of the best teams as well, just get completely outplayed in that first leg. So we had that thought that potentially this could be an uneven final, but it definitely weren't. It was very close. So big up to Team Footwears as well.
Can I have a favourite? Can I say the drama of Hollywood? I did just that. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining us here for the FIFAe Club World Cup. That is the first, of course, of 3 World Cups that we get to bring you this fortnight. And next up, we get to see which country has the best FIFA players in the world in our FIFA E-Nations Cup. You get to see some household names like MS Tassari, Nicholas, and even Dull & Mike are in attendance, and so are all of us as well. We'll be there on Tuesday. Will you? That's the question. We hope to see you then. Goodbye.